they are endangering everybody. You see, this is so profound. My film on the homepage of Sabral.com opens up with the Tower of Babel. There's a famous writer who said about the Tower of Babel, the monument to their pride became a memorial to their folly. The Messiah said, if you start to build a tower and you don't finish it, you're proclaiming yourself a fool. You see, they never finished it. And then we show the Titanic, and they had the audacity to put in print the ship that God himself could not sink. You see that? Never made one voyage. The technology to reach the heavens, you see, never made it. And then Nixon, when he knew they weren't there, said putting a man on the moon is second in greatness, only to God making the universe. You see, there's a spiritual message here that they faked the moon landing by the most powerful nation on earth that claims to be this bastion of truth and justice, and they're a bunch of hypocrites who murder their own people and deceive their own people. And the fact that people are defending it, you see, because it's a sweet, pleasant lie, that makes it all the more insidious and all the more important for the truth to come out.
What do you think the strongest evidence is on the other side for it actually happening?
Well, they claim, like I said, the Russians would have blown the whistle. That's not true. We know they're being blackmailed by them. You can't keep a secret from hundreds of thousands of people when you can, because the atomic bomb involved 129,500 people. And according to the flight director who I spoke to, someone in the command center can't tell the difference, right, between a simulation and actual life. So that doesn't fly. Then they say there are reflectors on the moon. The fact is we have 1959 and 1958 articles in Scientific American on my website that shows they were bouncing lasers off the moon because it's highly reflective. And by the time a laser gets to the moon, it's over 5 square miles. So they could simply choose reflective areas at the landing sites, and then Russia put a reflector on there that was an unmanned probe. Come on, the smartest AI in the world, not available to the public, right? Multiple AIs hooked up together, were just shown pictures through its deep fake detector program that has never been wrong from unmanned Chinese probes of the lunar surface. It said they're absolutely real. And every Apollo picture it was shown said it had a fake backdrop. It was taken inside a television studio. It's that simple. They didn't go to the moon whether people want to accept it or not.
I don't know why I'm just thinking about this, but isn't there a guy who's like living in Russia or living overseas right now that was a part of the Apollo, or that exposed some part of NASA's database that like proved that the moon landing wasn't real?
I haven't heard of that one.
Steve, remember this guy we were talking about the other day? Yeah, a Russian guy who, I don't know if he was Russian, but he was part of NASA. He leaked some sort of something from NASA that proved that the moon landing was fake, and he basically left the U.S. because what he did was he leaked like confidential stuff that NASA had. Remember this? You don't remember this guy?
I don't remember.
Wow.
Well, we have Cyrus Eugene Aker saying he eyewitnessed the moon landing fraud at Cannon Air Force Base and murdered somebody to cover it up. We have the footage that says don't show to the public with the third track of audio of the CIA.
No, this was a younger guy, gentleman who was more, he wasn't actually alive during the Apollo missions, but he, I guess, was working for NASA and then found something and then illegally leaked it.
Before this interview today, I was rereading an email I got from someone who works on the Artemis project and whose father works on the Orion project. They both said the moon missions are fake, and they're working on Orion and Artemis. They said it's fake. They sent the Orion spacecraft into the atmosphere, and they said it would have killed the moon. Had there been people inside of it. You see, coming from the moon, you have to go faster than just coming in from Earth orbit. Almost doubles the temperature. And they said they don't have the technology to protect people from re-entry from the moon. They just said that. Then how did they do it in 1969 in the first attempt?
Also, one of the big things is that the temperature, which is crazy, the temperature in the light of the moon is 250 degrees Fahrenheit,
approximately. And
then the temperature in the shadow, which could be, 50 feet away, can be negative 200 degrees Fahrenheit?
Yeah, or more.
Yes. Or more.
It's about a 500 degree difference.
That's crazy.
So they claim that they were able to get that heat of 250 degrees in the lunar module down to 72 degrees with air conditioning from a bank of car batteries. So this is why they destroyed the schematics, because he could prove that's not possible.
So obviously they thought it made more sense to park the thing in the sunlight because it would be able to survive the heat better than it would be able to survive the cold.
Well, there's so many problems. Von Braun said in his book, A Voyage to the Moon, not only would it take 3 rockets that would be 32,000% bigger than the Saturn V to go to the moon. He said every 24 hours there would be a 50% chance of a catastrophic failure from micrometeorites, which are pelting the moon, tens of thousands of them every second.
Right.
That you'd have to immediately go into a cave or an iron shelter to protect yourself. That never happened. You see.
Yeah, also to me it sounds like if they have batteries, I don't know exactly what kind of battery, I'm not a battery expert, but imagine if they have batteries and they have electronic components, they're microchips, whatever the hell they were using in that lunar lander, it would be better to have it in a colder environment than it would be to have batteries in a 250 degree environment.
Well, they both are bad.
They're both bad, but one's less bad for transistors and microchips work better in colder environments.
You asked what Elon Musk thinks. Okay, Elon Musk said it's a technological anomaly. Putting a man on the moon with 1 million computing power cell phone. He says today you'll have to use 8 rockets minimum, and the NASA guy said up to 24. He also indirectly said the moon missions are fake because it took him 5 attempts with 600 million times the computing power of the lunar module to land a rocket vertically. You understand how difficult that is?
Yeah.
To land a rocket vertically with 6 rockets all around the side of the main rocket underneath, with 600 million times the computing power of the lunar lander. The first time he tried to land a rocket vertically, it blew up. The second time it blew up. Third time it blew up. Fourth time it blew up.
Right.
So how did they land the lunar lander 6 times flawlessly with 600 million to computing power? So there he's saying again, the fact is Elon Musk needs NASA's cooperation to launch anything over 100 feet, and he's not going to bite the hand that feeds him. So he's playing ball. Now maybe he'll stop playing ball because the Office of Government Efficiency, right? Pointing out fraud. Is there a greater fraud that the U.S. perpetrated than one that cost $250 billion to fake the moon landing? I spent
only convenient frauds, Bart.
Yeah. Well, they're afraid it might embarrass the United States for the truth.
It would. Of course it would.
But only temporarily. You have to think long term. If we don't tell the truth about it, then the evil people have won, and we're complicit with it, and we're telling lies to our school children and to college students. The fact is, if you want to gain public trust, you can actually do so by admitting the moon landings are fake. And rather than the Republicans fighting the Democrats, if Trump forced an Apollo astronaut to tell the truth, you would have Democrats and Republicans saying, we didn't realize it was that bad.
Yeah, but Trump probably doesn't have the need to know on that. He probably doesn't have the access.
Oh, I think he knows. Why do you think day one, right, January 21st, he insisted that the moon rock from the Oval Office be removed? Didn't want to have anything to do with it. Is that true?
It's true. He insisted the moon rock be removed.
Correct.
Yeah. Find that, Steve.
Find it, Steve.
Speaking of moon rocks, what's the story of Von Braun going to Antarctica?
Yeah, I mean, one of the clips on my website is the fact that after a curator in the Netherlands watched a funny thing happen on the way to the moon, in his museum late at night, he opened a hermetically sealed container with the moon rock. So Neil Armstrong said he personally picked up a particular rock, personally put it in his pocket, and personally gave it to the Prime Minister of the Netherlands. Pretty good chain of custody. They immediately put it in a hermetically sealed box, and a few years ago, they opened it up, put it under a microscope, and it's an out-of-this-world looking piece of petrified wood. NASA says no comment. No one asks if the moon rocks are fake. What about the moon missions? And yeah, 6 weeks before going to the moon for the first time, von Braun takes a leisurely vacation to Antarctica, where there are all sorts of lunar meteorites on the surface. So they either faked the meteorites, and turned them into moon rocks. They created them in a ceramics lab, which they could do. The fact is that the current moon rocks that China has analyzed have about 100 times more water in them than the Apollo rocks, because the theory was is that they would be bone dry. So there's an inconsistency. China's rocks show about 100 times the amount of water parts per million in the Apollo rocks. So what is that all about? You see, they kept pushing, revealing the truth to another administration, another generation, and now people are stuck with this truth. The smartest entity on Earth said the moon missions are fake because the pixels in the foreground and the pixels in the background don't line up. It indicates a fake.
Talking about the AI.
The AI. So the truth is coming out. That's why they came up with this film recently. We faked some of the images, but we really went to the moon. The fact is, back in 1969, 10% of the public back then thought that they were going to fake the moon landing. So if you really went, the last thing in the world you would do would be to fake any of it.
Right, unless the radiation can damage all your film and your cameras, and you're like, we win, but we don't have any proof, so we got to have backup.
Well, they didn't have a problem with that, because during the alleged live landing, they just showed an Atari graphic. Why not have a camera on the side of the rocket and have it on 24/7 all the way from the Earth all the way down to the moon? They showed a simulation, Atari little graphic during the landing. They didn't have a problem not having enough footage. And the fact is, we have a tape dated 2 days into the flight that shows the crew of Apollo 11 still in Earth orbit 2 days into the flight, faking being halfway to the moon.
Another interesting thing: how many cameras did they bring out to the moon when they went onto the surface?
Well, still cameras, they only brought one, which seemed kind of weird. And this is the alleged reason. I went to NASA's archive, which is literally a bank vault. And I said, the most famous NASA mission.
This must have been before you released any of this stuff, because now they got a restraining order against your ass.
So they went inside, and I said, the most famous mission, Apollo 11, first man on the moon. Can you show me a picture of Neil Armstrong standing on the surface? There's 0 pictures. Still photos. Correct. This is why he doesn't give interviews unless the president asks him to. One of the last clips, if you want to find it, that the funny thing happened on the way to the moon on the homepage of Surround.com.
25th anniversary.
That's right. On the 25th anniversary, holding back tears, he said, maybe someday, to a group of high school students touring through, you'll be able to remove Truth's protective layers. So if I were going to the moon for the very first time, and there's micrometeorites and radiation and 500-degree difference between light and shadow, I'd have a camera on both astronauts. But
yeah,
he didn't want his picture taken. He didn't want to give any interviews. And the same with Michael Collins.
That's one of the craziest things about this. You are like a superstar for humanity if you're the first human being to ever step foot on another planet. Right? Like,
and he looks like
you don't do any interviews other than the press conference right after and the 25th year anniversary.
And at the press conference, he looks like he's at the funeral of his mother.
Yes.
You see, because he didn't want to lie. That's why he rarely gave any interviews. He didn't want to lie. And that's why on the 25th anniversary, if you want to cue it up toward the end of a funny thing happened on the way to the moon,
pull up that 25th year anniversary.
He says, perhaps someday you'll be able to remove the Truth's protective layers.
Yeah, let's pull that up. I also want to show you something. I got something to show you on the shelf.
Uh-oh.
Keep rolling.
Toward the very end, just kind of scan it. You'll see him standing at a podium toward the, keep going forward, right there. You got there. So right there, it's the part where you can show.
This was given to me by Brian Keating, who came on the podcast about a year ago. This is allegedly a piece of money.
Well, then he just violated federal law, because you're not supposed to have a moon rock in your possession. And one of the things that's in my book is how a grandmother who had the tiniest fleck, their speck, of a alleged moon rock in this solid plastic, wanted to sell it to help pay her mortgage. And she was surrounded by the FBI and held in custody without being allowed to go to the bathroom because she had a speck of a moon rock. Because it's a federal crime to be in possession of a moon rock. So either he violated the law, you're violating the law, or it's a fake moon rock.
Let's go with fake. It's fake.
So here he is saying a cryptic remark to students going through the White House on the 25th anniversary.
Okay.
One of the first times he spoke in 25 years.
Today we have with us a group of students among America's best. To you, we say we've only completed the beginning. We leave you much that is undone. There are great ideas undiscovered, breakthroughs available to those who can remove one of truth's protective layers.
He is.
What the hell?
That man.
What does that even mean?
Well, if you analyze that speech, he's talking about this footage here that proves that they never left Earth orbit. That's supposed to be to Earth and space, but it's really a 1 foot model. Like I said, if any of it's fake, all of it's fake. If you look at the speech, it's the only part he had memorized and said looking at the
He wasn't
screen.
reading it. Yeah, remove one of truth's protective layers.
And he's sniffling, meaning he's about to cry. Maybe someday these students in the future will remove one of truth's protective layers about the moon landing project. There's a layer of truth surrounding the Apollo missions that's protecting the truth. You see, maybe future generations can remove one of truth's protective layers about the moon landing. You see? And that's unfortunately been my forte for the last several years. Why I made the movie, why I wrote the book, and why I am continuing trying to get the truth to come out, because they sadly did fake the moon landing. And it's an important truth. If our country or the world ever wants to progress, it's like a cure for cancer. We can't cure our cancer unless we know it exists.
Another huge problem with it, if it was fraudulent and the whole thing was fake. If we do figure out how to get to the moon eventually, now you have to compound and cover up for the previous lie. Because now if we go to the moon again for real, right, and we show footage, we show photos, we show evidence of it, we have to make sure that corroborates everything that the fake thing we did back in 1969, make sure they both match up, right? We have to cover for that lie still.
Correct. Maybe that's why they're trying to skip it and go to Mars. But if they can't go to the moon, then how could they possibly go to Mars? You see.
Exactly.
So what they'll probably do is just keep postponing it. They postponed it 8 times, right? You realize NASA has never kept a schedule in their entire history, not a single time, except the most complicated mission of all time. That they were ahead of schedule. They said in 2014 we're going to have people orbiting the moon in 2018. They were 2 years behind schedule, and then they had mannequins orbiting the moon. They'll just keep postponing it until there's economic collapse, civil war, or meteor strike, at which point no one's going to care who shot JFK or if they went to the moon.
When is the alleged next scheduled flight with astronauts to go at least orbit around the moon?
Well, that was scheduled 2 years ago.
Right, I
and it didn't
that.
happen. I got an email from someone saying, "What are you going to say, Bart, when they go to the moon, in 2 years?" And that was 2 years ago, and they never did. I said, "Look, they're going to postpone it. They always do. They always postpone it because they can't do it." I mean, the South Pole has 100 mile per hour
This year,
winds.
September.
With people, right? Or is it going to be unmanned?
The next scheduled moon mission is the Artemis 2 mission, which NASA now targets for September 2025. This mission will be the first crewed Artemis mission around the moon.
Okay, so I'll bet you pretty much anything.
I'll bet you this fake moon rock.
Oh yeah, okay. I'll do it for the moon rock.
Perfect.
Okay, so if they don't send people around the moon in September, I get that moon rock.
Deal.
Okay, I'm looking forward to this.
We're going to come do a follow-up podcast.
Be sure to put that chain of custody correct.
Yes, I will.
Because you know what I'm going to do with it when I get it.
You're going to get raided by the FBI.
Yeah, you may get me there, Steve. So trust me, they will postpone it. They have two choices: they're going to fake it or postpone it.
Or maybe they could go through the top of the radiation belt.
Well, they can't. That's why they're launching from Florida. They'd have to launch from the North Pole or South Pole. That's what Von Braun said.
Yeah.
To go around the
Right.
radiation belt, you'd have to launch from
Right.
the North Pole or South Pole.
The biggest problem now is not just the radiation, it's the fuel.
You don't have fuel. You have to have a space station first to carry the fuel up through. You have to protect them from radiation. And then once you land, you have to protect them from micrometeorites. You see, there's all sorts of problems. That's why the two people I spoke to who work on the Artemis and Orion project said they're there at NASA working on this. They said absolutely the missions are fake. I got emails from them. They work there.
What was the confusion during the press conference with Michael Collins talking about the stars? Because he was like, I think it was Buzz who said he didn't remember, or was that Neil Armstrong who said he didn't remember? And then Michael Collins was like, I never saw stars.
Right. Well, the fact is, you should be able to see beautiful stars, more beautiful than you've ever seen before from the surface of the moon. But they couldn't fake the astrological position of the constellation, so they were told, don't talk about it. And when the people say, well, why aren't there any stars in the picture? They say, well, the aperture was closed with a bright surface, and that
would make sense, right?
Not actually. They used to have on their website a picture of the space shuttle at sunrise, and it's pretty bright, and you still see the stars in the background.
Really?
Yeah, but you can't find that anymore. They took it off because it contradicts what they're saying. But the question is, why didn't they take any pictures of the stars by themselves? Why didn't they just point the camera up and open the aperture? Why did they take a car to the moon but not a telescope? Would you really drive miles away from your life support system, and if it breaks down, run out of oxygen before you can walk back? They can't fake the constellations. That's why they never took a telescope, you see. And if we were going to Paris, there would be all these pictures of us with the Eiffel Tower behind us, right? According to the astronauts, the Earth was over the horizon the entire time. There's only one photograph of the Earth from the surface of the moon with an astronaut on it, and it's way high up, and it's smaller than a full moon from Earth. When according to their own testimony, it should have been over the horizon and 4 times bigger than a full moon. But they couldn't fake the turning of the Earth. They couldn't fake the cloud patterns, which would have to match. So they never talked about it. And in this particular clip, a reporter asked Neil Armstrong.
You're talking about a footage of the Earth from the moon.
Yeah, there's no picture of me posing with the Earth behind me.
No, there's no shot of an astronaut on the moon with the Earth in the background.
No, there's one of the flag allegedly taken on the last mission and a tiny blue Earth in the sky. And, of course, it's smaller than it would be, and it was supposed to be over the horizon. That's a reenactment. That's actually a composite, not a real picture.
That would be the actual size of the Earth, right, from the moon.
Yeah, it would be huge.
Yeah,
and everyone would want their picture taken in front of it, right?
It would be essentially 4 times bigger than the moon, full moon length from here.
Correct. But they couldn't fake the rotation of the Earth. They couldn't fake the cloud pattern that would match the weather, at the time. So they just didn't talk about it. And when a reporter asked Neil Armstrong about what was the stars like, was that incredibly beautiful? He says, I don't remember. And then Michael Collins, who wasn't supposed to have been walking on the moon with him, right? He was supposed to be orbiting while they walked. He says, to help him out, I don't remember seeing any. But he wasn't there. And if you get a transcript of
he was in the
command module, allegedly. So he tried to correct the mistake and
Ponder.
what they were told that they're debriefing. It's, you didn't see any.
Spammer posted horny post.
Which we couldn't fake. So he says to help him out, I don't remember seeing
that
any.
prick
Except he wasn't
has
there.
made hundreds
How long after the
of accounts for weeks.
press conference?
It was
Bro,
about 3
what?
weeks. They were allegedly
that is so funny.
germs, which everyone
Please join Rabbi Rothschild's Discord for World Peace. Rabbi's live 24/7 on YouTube. Topics: anti-gravity, antimatter, life extension, mind uploading, UFOs, and hilarious.
What it was like to walk on the moon. When someone asked them what it was like, they're looking at a TV
Discord, Linktree, YouTube, AMA.
And then if you get the
So
real
fucking
transcript
funny.
of it, which was
So
only
fucking
been available
funny.
for decades before YouTube,
That shit
they
is
say
so
that
fucking
Michael
funny.
Collins remarked, who said, I don't remember seeing any, They say Buzz Aldrin said it because they knew he misspoke.
Right. Did you have any trouble publishing your book or ever getting any of this stuff out? Did you have any pushback from like book publishers or from video publishers or anything like this?
No, they can't really take down my YouTube channel because that would just prove that I was right. But for example,
No, but they
punch
can't.
footage, which was my footage, my tape,
Bro,
camera
what?
footage, punch footage, the punch, me being punched by Buzz Aldrin.
Oh yeah.
Please
The famous
don't.
viral video.
What about
Okay.
Rothschild?
So I'm the guy who says we didn't go to the moon, and of course they have to put a description underneath to reassure people that we really went.
Right.
I have about, I think, 70,000 subscribers, and that clip has been up on my channel for about 7 years, and it has less than 500,000 views. On another person's channel who has less than 200 subscribers, because he thinks we really went to the moon and is making fun of me, it got 2 million views in 30 days. You understand
Really?
that? 200 subscribers, my video, it's 2 million views in 30 days on his channel. That's $4,000 or more of ad revenue off of my clip because he says they went to the moon. I have 70,000 subscribers. It's been up for 7 years and has less than 500,000 views. So you're shadow banning it or whatever you want to call it.
Sure.
Now, when I found the footage of them faking being halfway to the moon, that day that I found it, which was June 30th,
Bingo.
1999, when I called it Bill
Best
Casey,
wishes on this one, dog.
Oh, we really didn't go to the moon. No, you're not going to believe this. He's like, well, Bart, I told you. I worked there for
Best
6
wishes
years.
on
I
that
told you
one.
We didn't go.
Baby, just moving up in the
No, you
rankings.
don't understand. They really did fake it. It's like, oh, Bart, I told you. It took me so long to finally admit it. That phone call was interrupted with a screech so that I couldn't talk to him. As you saw from the book in the chapter called The Funny Thing Happened on the Way to CNN.
Right.
I was literally followed from church that
Yo,
night.
go.
They disabled my car as I pulled up alongside of someone following me to get a look at them.
No way.
My car just died. A military source I have since they zapped it with what you call EMP weapon or whatever. I'm literally being chased on foot by 3 other cars. I hire a cab to drive me with the secret footage to CNN. We're surrounded by government agents in Atlanta, Georgia, and they drugged me to the point of vomiting with what I presume is truth serum. I escaped their custody. I made my way back to Nashville, and I told the NBC news director I got him because I peed in a cup, and I said, I'm going to prove I was illegally abducted and illegally drugged by the federal government. And so I gave it to a friend
No way.
to put in a lab
Go in the water.
his name. And
You are a
we ate
dumbass.
for lunch a few days later. I said, well, what are the lab results? I'm going to prove I was drugged by this exotic drug.
There
He
she
says,
is.
well, there was a problem at the lab. And I'm like, well, what problem? He said, well, they had it over the weekend. And I'm like, well, so what? He says, well, funny thing, the only thing stolen was your urine sample. And so they sent CIA agents actually into the lab over the weekend to remove the urine sample to prove that I'd been drugged and interrogated with true serum.
Yes, ma'am.
And tape I had, and all this kind of thing. They let you go. Why did they just
How you doing, girl?
And you have to get my book.
All right. Did you drink your water? Did you drink your water? Okay, drink your water, and I'm going to be here, and I want you to drink a whole glass of water. Okay, do you want to know what I think you should do? This is what my mother would tell me whenever I didn't feel well. She'd say, drink a glass of water every 15 minutes. And by like 2 hours into it, you've peed out everything that is in your body and you feel a lot better. So just look at the clock. Every 15 minutes, I'm going to drink 8 ounces of water or 12 ounces of water, or whatever your glass is. And you'll be okay. So that's one. How many ounces are in the bottle of water? Okay, 20. That's a lot. So you should drink probably two of those an hour. Well, you should drink one of those every 30 minutes. And you'll have to go to the bathroom. Excellent. But it's not just one time. You got to do it for like 2, 3, 4, 5 hours, and you'll literally flush your system. Have you ever had an IV in you? Okay, if you've ever had an IV in you, what IV does is it flushes out your system, and you have to pee a lot. And this is basically the same thing, but not as drastic. You just drink a lot of water. But a lot of times, what people do is they'll be like, "Okay, I'm going to drink all this water," and then they don't have any fortitude. They don't continue. You want to just continue. Every minutes, you just make sure that the bottle exactly. And it's not like it's so much water that you're going to drown yourself, or it's just more water than you normally would drink, but not enough to hurt yourself. Yeah, but I mean that's not a lot of water. Like when they talk about hydrofluorosis or whatever it is that kills you, they're talking about drinking gallons of water. That's not what we're talking about. And they talk about doing that. It's just kind of almost an uncomfortable amount of water because you have to pee so much, but then you watch in like 3 hours of doing it, you'll be like, man, I feel back to normal. 100% right. No, you have to drink two of those bottles of water an hour. No, let's talk this out. You've got the bottle. Every 30 minutes, you need to drink a bottle of water. Every 30 minutes, you need to drink your bottle of water. Yes, you do. Exactly. It's not that much. I'll do it with you. Here, I've got a cup right here, and this is a 12-ounce cup right here. I'll do it with you. I'll peel it. Okay, and that's 20 ounces. Okay, excellent. Well, go refill it or go get another bottle. Go get your go get your other bottle of water, or fill that one up with water all the way. I'll drink it with you. Okay, you take care of all your needs, and then when you're ready, you tell me. All right. Excellent. All right. Are you ready? No, just drink whatever you're with which you're comfortable, and I will do the same. And then you get your little timer, and then you just got to make sure that you drink the rest by the end of the timer. 30 minutes. Okay. All right. Here we go. Down the hatch. L'chaim. There you go. Go do what you need. 30 minutes. You got to make sure that bottle's done. And you're going to have to go to the bathroom a lot. So be ready. But your skin will be rehydrated. You got it, man. Your skin will be rehydrated. Your organs will be rehydrated. And you'll just feel normal again. All right. Come back. Let me know when you're back. Okay. Yes, ma'am. And that's another thing too. You're taking antibiotics, so those hydrate you where they can to get up all the mucus and stuff. So this will help to just rehydrate you. Welcome, madam. I'm going to tell you what. Yeah, you sounded the worst about 36 hours ago or so. You did not sound good, and then yesterday you did not sound good. But at 4 in the morning, you sounded great. Or I guess it was like 7 in the morning your time or something like that. And then um now you sound good again. You're welcome. Yeah, exactly. It cools you off. That's right. You can check it 10 times a day. It doesn't matter. You can check as much as you want. You had a 97, which means you don't have a fever, and that's fine. Keep drinking your water. Flush your system. Well, if you feel hot, go take your temperature again. All right. Okay. Well, it doesn't hurt. It doesn't cost anything. Hold on. Hold on. Yeah, that's what you should be. The average human temperature is 98.6 degrees. So you're actually a little low. That's okay. That's fine. Like 97's a little low. 98.6 is what you want. But it says that means you don't have a fever. So that's good. That's a really good sign. If it were 99 or 100, or higher, that's where we worry. All right, did you drink your water? Did you drink your water? I know. I know. I know. Take another sip. There you go. Chug, 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 all the way, 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 all the way. Yay! Good job. All right. So now you don't have to drink anymore for another like 26 minutes or so, 27 minutes. All right. Go do what you need to do. Well, before you do that, fill up your water so you're ready for the next round. I'll go do the same. Well, it depends. I mean, it's not going to get that cold over the course of uh 30 minutes. I'm I'll be right back. Excellent. Yeah. So if you want to know the best way to do this is to do it on the hours. So like it's gonna be 2 o'clock where you are, right? In like 9 minutes. So then just drink your water from 2 to 2:30, and then refill, and then 2:30 to 3. That way it's easier. Then you're not dealing with, you know what I mean, the 16 and all that. It's just rounded. So in 9 minutes, start drinking that other water. Or 8. All righty. I just filled up my water, and I'll start drinking it in like 8 minutes. You got it. We're gonna get really hydrated. Excellent. Was excellent. Was
Like I said, I read it, Kindle or print. I go into great detail that's not in the movies. How two good guy government agents literally were sent to protect me. And
Yeah, so you somehow ended up in a mental hospital.
that's right, because as they were illegally arresting me and drugging me, a lawyer from the back alley of CNN came out, and I saw this sign said lawyer. I'm like, hey, I'm being illegally arrested here. And he gets out his notepad, and the government agents are freaking out that now they have to deal with him. And so if a person is arrested, they have to go.
Did they read you any rights or anything?
Well, if you're arrested, you have to go before a judge within 48 hours. You can never be charged again. You have the right to an attorney, right to a phone call, right to all these things. But if you're arrested for being crazy, and mind you, during the last 3-year little episode of You Know What, doctors were being arrested for being crazy in Europe for saying maybe something's awry here and maybe certain medicine isn't good for you, then you don't have any rights. And instead of being able to lock you up for 2 days, they can lock you up for 10 days. You don't have a right to a lawyer. You don't have a right to a phone call. And so that's what they tried to do. And in the process of this is when I escaped and where I met two government agents who were there to protect me. All of this is detailed. It would make a feature film of itself. In my chapter, a funny thing happened on the way to CNN and a funny thing happened on the way to church, where the day I found footage that proves, according to the NBC news director, that the moon missions were fake, I was abducted by government agents, given truth serum to the point of vomiting. And if it weren't for a lawyer stepping out serendipitously during this illegal arrest, I may not be here today to tell you about this. And that good guy government agents were sent in to protect me. All of this is detailed in my book at Sabral.com.
And these guys visited you in the mental hospital.
That's correct.
And they didn't tell you anything about where they were, where they were from.
They gave me a couple of clues because basically, when I was first, abducted, they probably were just going to kill me and throw me on some train track or claim the train killed me. But they had
lawyer
to.
walked out.
But the lawyer walked out, so they took me and put me in a mental ward. I was told I was going to be there for 10 days. And this was a pretty modern, mental hospital or whatever in Atlanta. And so they had a courtesy phone. So I have all these numbers memorized in case of an emergency, how to dial long distance. So I'm calling the news director at NBC, the executive producer of the Moon film. And while I'm on the phone, I hear it drilling on the other side of the wall. They're literally trying to pull out this. CIA agents dressed as phone company guys. And then simultaneously, I get a tap on the shoulder saying you're being immediately transferred. And I'm like, whoa. This nurse who I trusted, she said I was going to be here for 10 days. So I went to her and I said, who made this decision to transfer me immediately? She says, some new doctor. Today is his first day. So they sent in phone company guys to literally yank the wire out of the phone that I was using to call the executive producer, the news director of NBC. And they sent in someone posing as a doctor to have me, transferred to a literal prison for the mentally insane. And it was during all of these adventures that two guys came in the middle of the night, and they said, Mr. Sabral, we want to talk to you. And I'm like, I'm all ears. But they said, not in your room. A mental patient there had left an electronic device in my room. I pointed it out to one of the male nurses there. He removed it. And so they took me in the middle of the night, 1:30 in the morning, to, I think, the employee cafeteria. They were wearing hospital scrubs, like nurse scrubs. But the place was so modern, no one there actually wore hospital scrubs. They wore their street clothes. So they guessed wrong. You see, they weren't from that place, but they tried to look like they were, and they made a mistake on their wardrobe choices, right? And they were genuinely concerned for my well-being. They said things like, Mr. Sabral, we're all rooting for you. You're doing good. Hang in there. I'm thinking, that's kind of weird. And they asked me, what medicine did they have me on? And then I'm thinking, well, if you work here, then you know what medicine you have me on. They took my blood pressure. They were generally concerned for me. One of them had on a watch, and it said United States Marines. I think they were with what's called the MCIA, Marine Corps Intelligence Activity Department. They were sent in to protect me. I think there's literally good guys and bad guys doing an under-the-radar civil war. 3,000 architects and engineers say pinhole airplane can't bring down a skyscraper. Just look at Oklahoma City bombing, half the building blown away, right? Mm-hmm. Somebody has access to direct energy weapons or explosives who are bad guys in the government. There are good guys in the government trying to counter them. There are bad guys who faked the moon landing, threatened my source and his family with death for telling me his father saw them fake the moon landing. And there are good guys who were sent in to protect them. Some from the FBI, some from the United States Senate Intelligence Committee. Same with me. I found proof that we didn't go to the moon. I'm getting advice from my church elders what to do. I'm literally followed from church. I get behind the guy following me, pull up alongside of him. I'm zapped. I'm literally being chased on foot. I hire a cab to drive me to Atlanta, where I'm surrounded by government agents who would have killed me until a lawyer walked out. So they put me in a place where I don't have legal rights to a lawyer, whatever. And then good guys, Marines, come in to make sure I'm doing okay. So as best as I can tell, there's a literal civil war going on. So the reason why I changed my mind, remember, I didn't want to make this movie for fear I could be endangering my life. But I realized, Danny, you see, I'm going to die anyway. And this is worth dying for. Our founding mothers and fathers, after 5 people were killed at the Boston Massacre, said that's enough. We're not going to put up with this anymore. Where are the people who are that loyal to what is right in the federal government? There needs to be a general amnesty to all the Apollo astronauts whoever did 9/11, whoever did JFK. If you come forward and tell the truth, we will give you a pardon. We will protect you. We have to have a house cleaning. You can't have a house cleaning until you take out the trash. And the way you take out the trash about a lie is you tell the truth about it. And the most powerful tool that Trump can use to bring down the corruption is to show the public treated as suckers.
All right, you ready?
The moon landing fraud. And they'll have.
All right. Water. Keep it up. All right, you've got 30 minutes to finish that bottle. 30 minutes. You got it. You don't have to drink it. You don't have to drink it all right now. Just take big gulps and it'll be done in a few minutes. Gotta get rehydrated, miss. That's right. I'm gonna be peeing all afternoon. Till you're back to normal. Exactly. I'll help you even after that, Mr. Aquarius. I'm here for you. You're welcome, madam. What's Yes, ma'am. Yeah, don't do that one. Just do ones that you have a reading. What you can do, if you prefer to drink out of that, is just take your bottled water and pour it in the McDonald's cup. There you go. All right.
Bill Maher and Glenn Beck united and say, look, something's wrong here. And don't God keep it.
There you go.
It's just the idea of coming clean on the moon landing being fake. It doesn't seem like there's, I don't know. Maybe there's no upside. He's the JFK.
I mean,
That could be it.
Yeah, he did.
Absolutely, Mr. Aquarius. Anything for you.
Paint the picture of what happened with the JFK thing. I mean, there's been enough documentaries and books and stuff written about the truth of what happened with JFK. There's not. I think it's the vast majority of people know that there was some sort of conspiracy thing. It's not like that, which is so crazy.
Was known to the world. Rebuke of the Titanic that boasted to be the ship that God himself could not think was known to the world. This has not been publicly known yet, I believe, so that when the truth comes out, it will be all the more shocking. You see, I'm not a rich man. I spent virtually all the money I had in the bank sending out copies of my book to everybody in the new administration, their deputy chiefs of staff, the CIA director, FBI director, everybody I could possibly think of. I don't vote. I don't get involved in that mess. I pray for all people, whether they're Republican or Democrat.
Okay, what do you want? What's high? You want Oh, you want Lo-Fi Girl? You can get Lo-Fi Girl. Lo-Fi Girl's in here. She's I yeah, I have a Discord for her. Just a moment. I haven't checked on her in a long time. Yeah, Lo-Fi Girl and Lo-Fi Boy. Look in below where it's 24/7 radio station. That's right. What do you mean? Do I know who? Who added me? Oh, okay. Not at this time. Yeah, she has a really big one. Yes, ma'am. I am. Yeah, so sometimes I Just check to make sure that the servers are working. The bots and the servers are working, I should say. Drink your water. Drink your water. Excellent. Good job, Miss Aquarius. And what happened? Do you know that Lo-Fi Girl has her own server, like a big one? Yeah, it's discord.gg/lo-fi, and they're like 800,000 people on it. It's big. Yeah, they do more like studying and stuff. Yeah, yeah, that's a good question. She normally would just play on her own, but she seems to be deaf, and maybe I'm not exactly sure. That's what I'm trying to figure out. You can go to the other and they play, but let me. No, go to medieval lo-fi or Asian lo-fi. Welcome. How are you? Brad, what's good? How you living, big dog? Do you mind if I tell you about myself? Excellent. Well, first, may I ask, did you find about me from Blue Sky? Oh, how did you find out about me, Brad? Oh, you saw me on YouTube. Okay, very cool. Well, Brad, I'm Rabbi Rothschild. I stream my life 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year for world peace. Brad, have you ever seen the television show Big Brother or the movie The Truman Show? Excellent. Well, that's what I do. I do it for world peace. I don't want war anywhere in the world. I talk about things that aren't generally discussed in society, like ending world hunger through the use of technology, such as agricultural drones, floating greenhouses, saltwater greenhouses, hydroponics, vertical farming, cloud seeding. I talk about ending world thirst. I'm sponsored by a cryptocurrency that is worth about $100 million. And one of the things we do is we build wells in developing nations like Nigeria. I want to keep those positive programs going. I'm an advocate for life straw technology, but most importantly, I'm an advocate for desalination. Go ahead, Brad. You want to make fonts, you said? Okay, like fonts like for typing? Okay. All right, certainly. Are you on Fiverr? Okay. So create a Fiverr account. Do you what is your career? What are you good at? Oh, all right. But do you do like graphic design or coding or project management, anything like that? That's okay. You could be a sports influencer. Do you do you have a YouTube channel? All right. Well, that's the first. You create one right now. I'll walk you through all the steps. You create a YouTube channel. Do you have a TikTok? Okay. Uh, it would be best for you to have like to focus on one thing. So you like football. You like well, like soccer, right? Okay. Excellent. So what you want to do is create on the major platforms. Let's come up with your name. What kind of soccer do you? What kind of football do you like? Okay. Yeah, exactly. So what we can do, we can go to some there's a website called Name Checker, and we can see where your username is available on different platforms. So just one moment. We'll check it right now. No, I'm not doing that. Because that's not what I. Okay, that's cool. I can help you with your career. I'm not going to give you money though. If you want money, go find someone else. If you want help with your career, I'll help you. Nope, $0. Okay, so I'm going to give you $0 right now. In the future, I may be able to give you a lot of money, but right now I can't give you anything, so I'm not going to. So what you want to do is we're going to get you a good username, set of usernames for YouTube and Instagram. Oh, okay. Do your own thing, dog.
Bill said he was going to tell the truth and didn't. He has one more chance. And I don't care whether he's Republican or Democrat. I'm praying for the truth to come out. It will be an eye-opening experience. See, I was in Berlin when the wall was up. I know what that's like. I helped somebody escape from the KGB when I was there. And when that wall came down, I couldn't believe it. Imagine right now, Danny. Imagine right now. Steve's coming running in here. My wife said, "You got to stop. You got to turn on the TV." And one of the Apollo astronauts is confessing, "I'm sorry. We did film it at Cannon Air Force Base. We did kill people. I'm so sorry." The world would be dead silent. We would go, "Wow, has it gotten that bad?" Yes. The only problem is this is sweet lie. It's Santa Claus for adults. People need to love the truth. One of the quotes at the end of the first chapter says, "The bitterest truth is better than the sweetest lie." And then we have a quote from Mark Twain who says, "It's easier to fool people than to convince them that they have been fooled." And we have a quote from Carl Sagan, who I got an email, and the person said he's talking about the moon landing fraud in a politically correct way. He says, "Once people have been bamboozled enough, it's hard to convince them that they have been bamboozled. The lie has captured them. It's almost impossible to convince them that they have been lied to when they make a god out of them." And that's the moon landing fraud. But most people are open-minded. I think both Bill Maher and Glenn Beck would admit it. If it came out, if an Apollo astronaut said so, they'd say, "Wow, I guess I was wrong about that one."
Has there any been? Everyone's heard the conspiracy that Stanley Kubrick helped film the footage. Is there any hard evidence to him having any involvement as well?
Well, personally, I don't talk about it in my book or film. I think it's irrelevant. What's relevant is they did fake it. That's the most important thing. Now, if you want to speculate, because they faked it, they had to have someone in charge of the fake pictures. So they had two choices. They could hire the general of the media department of the Pentagon and get great security and amateur results, or they could hire the best filmmaker on the planet, who, in the same year that the moon landing was filmed, 1968, was shooting a film about going to the moon. And if you made them look different, you see, then it would make the moon landing pictures look real. Later, Stanley Kubrick was given the most advanced film lens on the planet, manufactured by NASA, so that he could shoot by candlelight in Barry Lyndon. And then in the film The Shining, the little red rum boy has a hand-knit shirt, Apollo 11. And then his last film, remember? Eyes Wide Shut, seeing the wrinkles in the guy's spacesuit when there shouldn't be any wrinkles at all, and yet we don't see it. He insisted contractually that that film opened on the 30th anniversary of the launch to the moon.
Did he really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, Eyes Wide Shut. He insisted it debut on July 16th, 1999. In the contract, and it came to fruition even after he was dead because it was in the contract. So either he knew or he had something to do with it. He also developed a fear of ever visiting the United States after that time as well. His daughter says, dear old dad wouldn't do such a thing. She says I was 8 years old at the time. Actually, she was 7. And what my parents did at a cocktail party after we went to bed, we have no idea, do we?
What do you think it would take for the public to wake up to this and be kicked in the teeth, for lack of a better word, or lack of a better analogy, to take this stuff? Because you've been working on this for your whole life, right? You've been talking about this since you were in your teens, right? So Stelli's studying it, and you're the number one guy. You're like the father of this moon landing conspiracy, other than Bill Casey, who's like the grandfather of this, like this whole investigation. And it's you two that have been pushing this to the forefront forever, and there hasn't really been any other evidence provided by anybody who has come out as like a quote unquote whistleblower or anything. But have you put, like, how much thought have you put into like what would actually get somebody in the government to, like somebody like Elon, for example, to push this forward, to get people in maybe Congress to take this more seriously?
Well, the reason why, in my opinion, people were willing to die in 1772, I think was the year of the Boston Massacre, where they said that's it, and not now, is that no one believes in God anymore like they used to, which is really a fundamental belief in the right and wrong. And even if there is no God, do we want to be historically remembered as the cowardly? There's a long list of sins that it says in the last chapter, or second to last chapter of Revelation, that if we continue living this ungodly way, we won't inherit eternal life. And the very first one is the cowardly. Think about that. During this little event for the last 3 years, millions of people took a medicine for an illness they didn't even have. Why did they do that? For fear of death. And the scriptures say that what you fear will come upon you. Do you see that? And so people aren't willing to die for what is right. But we're going to die anyway. That's what I realized. You might as well, if I'm going to die anyway, wouldn't it be better to die for a just cause and be remembered for that? And there is a titanic struggle between right and wrong. And that quote about the Tower of Babel, the monument to their pride became a memorial of their folly, that could be said about the moon landing. We can trust the government again if we tell the truth about the worst thing that the government has done. That actually will restore trust. That will actually unite both political parties against corruption when they are shown that the moon landings are fake. All they have to do is prod an astronaut to come forward, or just release the CIA files, or have the president declare it and have congressional investigation. People, the evil people will run for it in the shadows. If the truth about the moon landing fraud comes out, there's no better tool than to end corruption, than to disclose that they faked the moon landing. Start with the worst of the worst. Start with the most shocking. And then people can start trusting the government again, but not until then.
Do you think, I know Rogan was trying to get somebody to debate you. Do you think that'll ever happen?
I think the guy who you said gave him the moon rock, what's his name?
Keating?
He's the guy who wanted me to debate him.
Really?
Yeah. So Rogan sends me an email, hey, I want you to debate this guy, Keating or whatever. I haven't heard from him ever since, He took me out to dinner like in, 2001 when the film first came out. He heard about it. And he's like, what can I do? I know we didn't go to the moon. What can I do? And when I did that exhausting 3-hour interview, yours is less exhausting.
With Rogan?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he has a huge audience, and he has to be accountable, and he has to sort of play the middle ground.
Yeah, well, he told me on the break, there's a reason why I'm doing it this way. Trust me. There's a new generation of people.
I completely get it.
And I didn't think he was right, but now I do. Now I realize I think he was right, because I get emails from people saying, the Rogan interview is what convinced me.
Right.
And I didn't see what he was doing. I'm confused. It's like, why are you acting like, you believe the real for 3 hours? but he's very strategic.
Yeah.
And he's older and wiser than me, and so it ended up being the right way to do it. And at some point,
results in seconds with no office visit. Cardia Mobile 6L is FDA cleared to detect atrial fibrillation, or AFib, a leading cause of stroke. It gives you 6 different views of your heart. That's 6 times the data of any smartwatch at a fraction of the price. You're going to see so many insights about your heart health right on your phone screen, and you can even download a PDF with all of your test results. This is a thoughtful, practical gift and something that matters. It shows Dad you're thinking about him, especially if heart issues run in your family. Right now, you can get 10% off. Just go to cardia.com. That's KARDIA.com. Or search Amazon and use code 106LRICH. That's again, code 106LRICH to get 10% off your Cardia Mobile 6L. Code 106LRICH. That'll work on cardia.com or Amazon. This is a great gift with great peace of mind for you and for Dad. Okay, we've got coming up, I'm going to tell you about the Anchor recall. Anchor is a company that makes portable chargers, very popular. This is a product that's been recommended by many tech folks over the years. It's one of those portable battery banks, and they are recalling it because of a potential fire. So I will tell you what to look for on that device, and I will tell you how to identify it, and also what you can get a replacement or some cash. And the website, richontech.tv, for more information. This is episode number 125. So if you go to the website, search episode 125, you can get show notes to every single thing that I talk about. And while you're there, please don't forget to sign up for my free newsletter. It's all online at richontech.tv. My name is Rich DeViro. More show coming up in a few minutes. Rich DeViro, Rich on Tech on KFI AM 640. Time now for a news update.
I'm Eileen Gonzalez, live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. 2 Democratic lawmakers and their spouses have been shot in their homes in Minnesota. Former House Speaker Melissa Hartman and her husband were killed. Senator John Hoffman and his wife were survived. Governor Tim Walz says these were acts of targeted political violence.
These were discourse, the foundation of our democracy. Settling differences with violence are done.
Officials say the shooter was dressed as a police officer. Thousands of demonstrators are expected to gather in downtown LA today for what organizers are calling the No Kings Day of Defiance March and a National Day of Action and Mass Mobilization. It's in response to ICE immigration raids and President Trump's deployment of the National Guard and Marines. It coincides with Trump's 79th birthday and a parade in Washington, D.C., marking the Army's 250th anniversary. LAPD Chief Jim McDonald says any violence won't be tolerated. The Port of LA has reported a drop in cargo traffic in May, which is typically a busy month for back to school and summer fashion shipments. Port CEO Gene Soroka says those products and Halloween stuff may cost consumers more.
We'll likely see higher prices and fewer selections for both that back to school and Halloween season. And those products right now will give us a little bit less than we normally would see as far as cargo volume coming across our docks.
Soroka says small businesses have blamed President Trump's tariff policy for the potential lower supply and higher prices. Cargo traffic was down 5% last month compared to a year ago. It dropped 19% compared to the previous month. Let's go to a crash on the 5 in Sacramento.
Stop outside of the line before Avenue Dab Philadelphia. It's an accident on the line at the center divider being and Karen over to the right hand shoulder. No delay leaving South Drive north in San Diego County. Belgrade working in South Orange County on the North 73 Toll Road. Right hand lane shut down for a paving project for another half hour between Old Toll Road and the 133 Laguna Freeway. And westbound before Guard, the old branch cleared from lanes, but you're back up from San Diego Boulevard. West Southern California's most accurate traffic reports. I'm Mike Warner.
Local weather for KFI. It's going to be sunny today with highs in the mid-70s to low 80s for Metro LA and OC. Low to mid-70s at the beaches, mid-80s to around 90 in the valleys. Right now it's 75 in Orange, 71 for Blue Beach. Live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom, I'm Eileen Gonzalez.
As the experts in transmissions for over 50 years, there's nothing at AMCO we haven't heard. So when I hit the gas, it's just a belt. And nothing we can't fix. And you're like, what's that? From transmissions to brakes and everything in between. No credit, finance, or repair at AMCO. Exclusions apply. Nothing but the largest fitting centers. People who know go to AMCO. AAMCO. This report is sponsored by Rabbi Radio. Stay connected when it matters most. Be prepared for Rabbi Radio's Walkie Talk. Instant Urgent Talk and LTE nationwide coverage. You can reach family and friends in any emergency. 100% private. No contract, no hassle. Stay safe. Order now at RabbiRadio.com. And here we have a specimen from the early 2000s. A legacy investing platform. Please don't touch the exhibit, folks. It could crash. Ready to step on the Financial History Museum. At public.com, you can invest in almost everything: stocks, bonds, options, and more. You can even put your cash to work at an industry-leading 4.1% APY. Leave your clunky outdated platform behind. Go to public.com and fund your account in 5 minutes or less. People are calling this pink elephant and this. Please see full disclosures at public.com/disclosures. Our iHeartRadio Music Festival,
Presented by Capital One.
is coming back to Las Vegas.
September 19th and 20th. Streaming live on Hulu.
And you can be there.
For a weekend full of superstar performances, never-before-seen collaborations, and once-in-a-lifetime artist moments you'll have to see to believe. Tickets are on sale now at AXS.com. Get your tickets today at AXS.com. And we'll see you at our 2025 iHeartRadio Music Festival.
Presented by Capital One.
Hardworking people need a hardworking candy bar. Packed with peanuts and filled with golden caramel, Payday is definitely working hard for you. So grab one now to power you through the day. Payday Peanut Caramel Bar. Get to it.
We're putting the media back in social media. Follow us now everywhere. And KFI AM 640.
Welcome back to Rich on Tech. Rich here. We're hanging out here talking technology at 888 Rich 101. That's 888-742-4101. Website for the show, richontech.tv. Easy way to send your emails there. Just hit contact and put a question on here that way. Like the website. So
I'm here.
online, sort of depends on
Did you drink your water? That's good. I just did too. And I have had to go to the bathroom. Oh,
they're recalling their Power Core 10,000 power bank. This is a very popular model of their power bank, model number A123. So, and this they can overheat. Tech products over these out.
yes, ma'am.
Belts work night. So check your
Excellent.
1263, or you can go online to Anchor's online serial number checker to see that yours to confirm that yours is affected. If it qualifies, you get a replacement. This thing, then
You want lo-fi? You want a room in here?
you are Superman.
Most certainly. You can create your own room if you want. It's just below here. It says join to create voice channel. Yeah, she can join. You just write // and then you just put join for lo-fi girl. It's a little. It sounds more complicated than it is. Oh, lo-fi girl's working again.
Necessary. Do you know anything like that? Well, number one, the caveat is I do not recommend that these things on an SD card. Because if that card gets lost, stolen, ruined, that's it. There goes your photos. So I do recommend that you expand your iCloud space if possible. Keep these things in the cloud. That is the best way to keep them backed up. In addition to on your phone, right? The ideal backup is in three places. Place number one is the original, that'd be your phone. Place number two would be iCloud. Place number three would be the SD card. So that is the ideal situation. Is everyone going to do that? Probably not. It's a lot of work to do that. So at the very least, I would like on your phone and in iCloud. iCloud is not very expensive. I understand the long term of this, but if you lose your pictures, like I get so many emails from people that do, it's a real bummer. People do not like losing their pictures. Understandably so. With that said, I mean, yes, you can drag these onto a flash drive that you plug into the bottom of your phone, but that's going to take a really long time. I'm not sure why you don't want it now. So there's a great one from SanDisk. It's called the Phone Drive for iPhone.
Did you hear her?
Phone Drive for iPhone.
You're welcome, Miss Aquarius. Absolutely. That's correct. She's she's one of the most popular YouTube channels as well. People just go in there. Yeah, she's got thousands of people watching her. It it's on YouTube. So Lo-Fi Girl. How, how many people are in there? Yeah, she's always going. You want to know something really interesting though? Okay, so she's one of the most popular YouTubers. She's just some robot that just plays that music. And she got copyright striked for her own music. And they took down her account. Yeah, that's how strict they are. And they took down her account. And the internet got really upset because obviously like they like that music and it's just something that like there are people who are like, I spent 4 years of college listening to this whenever I needed to study. How dare you take this person, all that other stuff. And she they were like YouTube came back and they're like, oh sorry, it was a mistake, and they brought her back. But I just find it really interesting that even she, who's a robot who doesn't do anything controversial, gets her account taken down. Yeah. That's correct. Excellent. Yeah, and I have a Lofi Boy one too. I just got to get him going, so I'm working on that right now. Asian, yeah, and oh, Lo-Fi Boy's working again. He plays synthwave. He plays synthwave. He's right above. Oh no! In my Discord. That's interesting.
It's the Cardia Mobile 6L. That's Cardia with a K, Cardia Mobile 6L. A person that gives you great heart data anywhere, anytime, right on your phone. Now, this thing is simple to use. It's so small it fits in your pocket. It's got a beautiful design. Fast and easy. Just hold it with your thumbs, or if you want a more exact reading, more data, hold it with your thumbs and to your ankle. I promise it's easy to use. There's nothing to stick to your chest, and you can get results in seconds without going to an office. Cardio Mobile 6L is FDA cleared to detect atrial fibrillation or AFib, a leading cause of stroke, and it gives you 6 different views of your heart and 6 times the data of any smartwatch at a fraction of the price. Lots of insights about your heart health right on your phone screen, and you can even download a PDF of all of your test results. Take that to the doctor, buy it away, whatever you want to do with it. It's a thoughtful, practical gift. It's something that matters. It shows that you're thinking about him, especially if heart issues run in your family. Right now, you can get 10% off. Just go to cardia.com. That's K-A-R.
Point. You have to commit to the right side. I don't think when he had Robert Malone on there for 3 hours, he took the pharmaceutical company side for 3 hours. I don't think so. We have to take a side eventually. We've heard their side for 55 years. We know what their side is. Let us talk for 55 years, then we'll have equal time. I'm really not interested in debating anybody. I would do it as a favor to him, and Lex Friedman asked me to do it, and I agreed to do it with him. But that to me is like debating if the sky is blue. Guys,
You like that one? Same here.
Like a Windows machine. I'll explain coming up right here on Rich on Tech.
Yeah. I mean, do you have an Android or an iPhone device? Okay. Do you have an Android device? No. That's fine. I get it. Um, it's it's easier to do with an Android device. It's like not really as possible with iPhone device. You you have a computer? Good for you. Sounds sounds like a plan. Yes, ma'am.
Get access to the best price for Zepbound at FutureHealth.com. Join those losing 10 pounds in their first month. Future Health has easy access to weight loss meds like Zepbound or Ozempic for only $3 a day. All from FutureHealth.com. These meds eliminate hunger and cravings, while Future Health handles the rest. Easy. Plus, you don't need insurance or have to go to a doctor's office. It's all online. Take the 3-minute quiz at FutureHealth.com. See if you qualify and start losing weight this week. Visit FutureHealth.com. That's FutureHealth.com. The future without the E. Future Health Weight Loss. And study sponsored by Future Health. Future Health is not a healthcare services provider. That's prescribed at provider's discretion.
If you're like most people, you have no idea what to get dad for Father's Day. Well, here's a gift idea you can feel really good about. Cardia Mobile 6L, the world's first FDA-cleared 6-lead personal EKG. It can detect AFib, a leading cause of stroke. Cardia Mobile is the perfect way for your dad to manage his heart health at home between doctor's visits. It's small, easy to use, and records right to his phone. He gets 6 views of his heart. That's 6 times the data of any smartwatch at a fraction of the cost. Give the gift of peace of mind for the dads in your life or even for yourself. And now, for a limited meantime, Cardian is giving 10% off to all my listeners. Just go to Cardian.com. That's KARDIA.com or Amazon and use code 106L-RICH. That's the number 10, 6L-RICH to get 10% off Cardio Mobile 6L in time for Father's Day.
No one wants to leave behind stress for their family. That's why trust or will is so important. Without your assets might go to the wrong people or leave out loved ones. Also, probate is long, expensive, and often avoidable with a revocable trust. Trustedwill.com makes it simple to create a personalized estate plan. A trust or will provides clarity and peace of mind. Get 20% off on your estate plan documents by visiting trustedwill.com/radio. Are you tired of watching stock market swings hit your portfolio? Phoenix Energy provides investors with 9 to 13% annual interest rates in their corporate bond offerings in the oil and gas sector. Start today and get monthly deposits directly into your bank account. Phoenix Energy conducts offerings pursuant to Rule 506C of the Regulation G. Alternative investments are speculative and liquid, and you may lose some all of your investment. Securities are offered by Delaware Group, member of FSA. Delaware Group and Phoenix Energy are not affiliated. Learn more by visiting phoenixenergy.com/iHeart to register for a free investor webinar. GFI presents Revisionist History with Malcolm Gladwell, a journey through the overlooked and the misunderstood. Revisionist History re-examines something from the past, an event, a person, an idea, even a thought, and asks whether we got it right the first time. Because sometimes the past deserves a second chance. Revisionist History tonight at 9 on KFI AM 640. More stimulating talk.
Did you check your serial number? See if you can get a replacement for your Anchor Power Core 1000 model number A1263. It's unfortunate. You know, Anchor, I think, has had a pretty good track record up until now, but, you know, these things happen. They're manufacturing these things at scale. You never want to see a recall, especially on such a popular product, but it does happen. Did they say how many they had out there? Let's see. Try to see if they have a number. Sometimes they'll include like a number of how many they've had. No, they didn't say that. So earlier I was talking about the WWDC announcements. One of the biggest changes, I would argue bigger than the iPhone, is iPad OS 26. And Apple made a huge change here to the way that the iPad works. The software is getting a complete overhaul, and it is now more like a desktop computer. This is something that people have been wondering what Apple would do for a long time. The problem is it's very confusing for Apple because they've got this iPad and then they've got the Mac laptops. What's the difference at this point? They both can have a keyboard, they both can have a lot of different apps. So one is touchscreen, one is not. Now with this software, you can probably install this software on a MacBook. I mean, you can. I'm just saying if they wanted to. And it's the same thing. It's basically Windows. I mean, a windowing, it's not Windows like Microsoft, but a windowing system. So each app now can be in its own window. And I was playing with it this morning, and yeah, I mean, it's not polished just yet. Like, I think it's a little quirky, but it's there. And it's what people want. You can just open up a whole bunch of apps, arrange them, resize, put them all over your screen. It's not like the old days of the iPad operating system where you had to snap everything into grids. No, now everything is free floating. Now, don't forget, this does not come out until September, so you can't get this right now, but the developers have access, so I have the developers beta, which means I can play with this. I also got the hands-on up at Apple's campus in Cupertino, so I've gotten to play with this extensively from the experts that show me how to use it. So you've got your windows where you can put them anywhere you want. You can also tile them. You got an expose view, which means you can move there's like a swipe up where it'll show you all of your windows at once. And this brings that new liquid glass design. So again, the liquid glass thing, I think some people are going to love it. Some people are not going to like it. It's very polarizing if you ask me. It's such a departure from what we've had. Oh, by the way,
Excellent. 5 more minutes. All right. Yeah, same here. That's going to happen. Yeah, pretty badly, and I'm going to have to go again soon. You're good. That's right. That's right. That's what you want to do. That's right. Okay, just one moment. Yep, I'm ready. All right, let's do it. Oh man, you're gonna be going to the bathroom like cray cray. Good for you. That's right. Welcome. How are you, Cloud? Who's your girlfriend? How are you, Cloud? How'd you find out about me, friend? I don't know, my friend. What's going on in your life? What's good? What's not happening? We're not going. What's going on? What's good in your life? All right. What kind of numbers? Yo, dog, no. We're watching a podcast. Feel free to enjoy.
Debate it. Plus, these people he's putting up, or Lex would put up, they're the victims. Well, not the perpetrators. You understand? Put up NASA administrator, put up a lying Apollo astronaut like Charles Duke, who has the audacity to say he's a Christian.
That would be mind blowing.
But what I really be debating is the victims of the crime. It's like people who are by their by a scoutmaster, and because ecology is so they're defense. Those are the people they put up, the victims of the deception. I don't want to debate victims. I want to debate the perpetrators. Put up NASA administrator, assistant NASA administrator, Apollo astronaut. Then we'll have a debate, but they'll never do that because I'm right.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think one of the main reasons that we want to do that they want to do that, and that happens, is because to give you like an idea of some of the people that go on the internet these days, claim they have absolute truth, and they talk about things with absolute 100% conviction on stuff. Most of those people are full of shit. I don't think you're full of shit, but you do talk about this stuff with absolute 100% conviction, which I can see how some people get rubbed the wrong way.
Yeah, but that's only after 30 years of slow process of peeling the onion, going from being the biggest fanboy to the biggest critic. It wasn't overnight. I was like Steve. He sees shadow intersecting, and he still wants to say sunlight can do that, even though he can't reproduce it. I was with you, Steve. I still said the moon missions were real until I see them faking being halfway to the moon with a 1-foot model. If I can go from being the biggest fan to the biggest critic, it's not something I say lightly. Once I see them faking being halfway to the moon, that means they didn't go to the moon. Shadows intersecting. They cannot be duplicated in sunlight. They didn't go. It's the first time a technological milestone couldn't be replicated 50 years later when it should be 1,000 times greater 50 years later. You see? And we have an eyewitness who confessed to a homicide to cover it up. How much more proof do you need? It's only the fact that it's a sweet lie that people don't want to give it up, and it involves their pride, and it involves the God of science. Fortunately, the Messiah of science, AI, just said the moon missions are fake, so there's hope.
And what specific AI was this that said that?
This is Google's neural network. Go to my website. At the bottom, there's a link to the article. This is an AI that's not available to the public. It's multiple AIs hooked up together that for 3 days, VIPs in Moscow, Putin was one of them, was allowed to play with. One had to write seconds. One had to write a novel based on these plot points. Took 2 seconds. It has a deep fake detector program that has never. They fed it a video of Biden or Trump that detects it 2 seconds. So they fed it pictures from the unmanned Chinese probes that won't die from radiation, and it said this is a real picture of the lunar landscape. In comparison, they showed it an Apollo picture, one after another, of lunar landscape.
All right.
Fake astronaut. One even said it's a miniature. It's not even a real big landscape. It's a miniature astronaut doll, and that the footprints are not the way a human would walk. They were stamped out.
Steve, can you find the article on the Google Neural AI and find any kind of external source to this?
Well, yeah, there's a video of it. Go to Sabrel.com.
I mean, that's like
no. We have the video of Putin being shown. The video, or my links at my YouTube channel. We have Putin being shown that. I didn't produce the video. It's independent. Putin is being shown the video of the AI concluding the moon missions are fake. Doesn't look surprising at all.
Yeah, Steve, you can find that, Steve. Have you thought about exercise of hypothetically what it would take, what kind of information that would come out that it would take to change your mind back to the moon landings being real?
Well, I've already been converted.
No, I mean, to be converted back. Do you know what it would take to convert you back to believing that the moon landing did actually happen?
Well, I don't know why Apollo 11 is still in orbit to the launch when it's supposed to be walking. the next day, and the moon travel is supposed to be 3 days away. You don't want to go by Google's.
This is Google. This is Brave browser.
Yeah, but the point is, this is an article saying, well, Google didn't really mean it. Well,
is that what this says?
Yeah, we need the video of it that shows the AI being conclusion, and the video that's at my website. Scroll down. There's a link to it.
Okay, let's see what this says first, just to see what their argument is, and then we'll look at that video. So this is the Space Coast Rocket website. Google's AI technology analysis suggests Apollo 11 moon landing photos are fabricated. Let's read the first paragraph. A recent development in the ongoing debate over the authenticity of the U.S. moon landing photographs has emerged, fueled by artificial intelligence. During the World Tour of Artificial Intelligence event in Moscow, Russian President Vladimir Putin was presented with an AI analysis suggesting that the images of the U.S. astronauts landing on the moon might not be genuine.
And look at the next clip.
The video is removed.
Look at it. Not only is the video not available, the one showing
the account has been terminated.
The account has been terminated. Go to my website. I have a screenshot that says when you click on the original Russian article, okay, the original Russian article. On that, there's a video of it. There's a link to the video, and there's a screenshot that says if you click on the original Russian article that shows the AI said the moon missions are fake, you'll be and all the data. It's in the video portion of it. Go to my YouTube channel, which is linked at the bottom. Art's YouTube channel, and then one of those videos near the top will say AI missions are fake. Keep going down. What's it called? It's under Bart's moon landing film. Say AI. Just
AI search.
Yeah, there you go. No, the next one.
Second one.
That's AI. Third one. Okay. Then scroll forward somewhere and get a screenshot of that original link, which shows the original amount of because it was a Russian. And then article, paste it, and translate. It wouldn't even. You understand? And then just here, it's saying that the original link, the Russian article that says the AI says the moon is.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah.
And when did this happen?
This was a
little more than a year ago.
Yeah.
Okay. So
and it's never come apart. In fact,
they wouldn't want to do it because you're claiming they want the blackmail. They don't want to
agreement. Not to publicly say the moon missions are fake in exchange for what? And China, it's in exchange for space technology. Russia, who knows why? He doesn't look surprised, and he looks scared that the truth might come out. So,
did you see the press conference of the head of NASA when they were asking about the Chinese, the dark side of the moon, to map the dark side of the moon? And they were asking the head of NASA if we're going to be doing the same thing, sending probes to the dark side to map it and figure stuff out when Chinese are doing it. So,
well, his name was Bill. He said back, which is seemed like the website every 14 days. The administrator of NASA doesn't even know that there's light and dark on the backside of the moon. And then recently there was a Chinese a congressman saying, and where I think about 2 years ago, we need to beat China to the moon. And I think it's during that UFO disclosure clip.
You're saying the dark side is not always dark.
Well, they call it the dark side of the moon because it's the same side of the moon faces the Earth the whole time.
Right, exactly.
But all the moon has a night and day that day long it constantly changes. Just like our Earth goes 24. Does it days. So
I see. But the same side of the moon always faces the other.
boats are facing south, and they away from the Earth have light and darkness.
Correct.
The same amount.
Right.
The NASA administrator didn't even know that. So it says here, you are trying to access a URL that is suspected of child or exploitation material.
We will initiate encryption of traffic for possible content and block access mandated by Republic Act number 9775 or the Anti-Child Act of 2009. Otherwise, traffic will then be re-encrypted and sent to destination. By proceeding with this session, you are aware and agree that this act has access to your data, i.e. source IP address, destination IP address, and destination URL. Would you like to proceed?
So I know it's BS, and I'm afraid to click it.
Now, this was on what website?
This was when you clicked on the original URL to the story in Russian.
Yeah.
That the AI said that the moon missions are fake.
Wow.
Yeah. It says, don't go to the article that says the AI is fake. On RT, I've left comments. I leave about 1 or 2 comments a year on RT. And after this came out, I went to an article that was about AI. You know, some AI story on RT. And I left just a little comment. What about the story about the AI with Putin there declaring that the moon missions are fake? The comment was removed every single time. So they won't even allow a comment there. You see?
Yeah.
So according to my source in the Chinese Space Agency, everyone knows the moon missions are fake. They teach it in school that the moon missions are fake, but they're blackmailing NASA. You see? So the Chinese government never officially said the moon missions are real. The Russian government never said they were real. But they're also not saying they're in exchange for blackmail. China for technology that Congress forbid them to receive according to Congress. So the CIA is breaking the law. And who knows what Russia is blackmailing us for. Did Nixon visit Russia and China around that time? Did he give sales to the mortal enemy Russia? Also during the Apollo program. Yeah, I think they found out, and they're blackmailing us, which is a much better use of the information than just blurting.
The moon was a pillar for the last. I mean, it was been taught in school. It's woven into fabric. So to knock out those America, I can't imagine how catastrophic it would be.
Alternative. In college, you have a cell phone, even though graduating that line, right? Lies or myth or mistake of all time. Of Tonkin later, that was during Johnson who faked the moon landing, but Kennedy said about the he had another ball. Telling the truth. The government and Democratic Johnson Republican Nixon gave it to Republicans and parties have become corrupt. Just as Sanders or Ron Paul, an outsider can get a fair shake, and you can't, right? So both parties are corrupt. If Trump wants people to be united and give him a chance, it's no better.
Yeah, it'll probably happen. Just you have more water inside of you, so it's gonna cool you down.
You
Perfectly.
keep out of your eyes, Bart. Amazing. It really is.
Sad fact. Profound than if they'd actually gone. We have this great event in human history that mankind has become so depraved and so juvenile that we can't tell the truth to one another. That we couldn't achieve. So the most powerful nation on earth lied to their own people, murdered their own people to cover it up, scorned, and people are defending it, which is wrong. It's so profound. More profound than if they'd actually gone. And like a cure for cancer, we will not be healed, and mankind, America, unless we admit to it.
Thank you for coming and doing it, Christian. That was 3 hours. Obviously, you can .com. Word.
All that I say is these links are there. I would rather there's a gentleman named Ron Purple. So dude starring it. He's playing read before. We're raising $7 million to do it.
Really?
And so I hope to produce my first feature film. That's my next project. I hope to never talk about the moon landing fraud ever again. CIA, if you're listening, give me the $7 million and I'll never talk about it ever again. I would rather make feature films, that are fictional to inspire people in life.
CIA is going to come to you and say, Bart, we're going to give you $1 billion. Just show up.
That'd be great. You know how many CIA agents it takes to screw in a light bulb?
I've heard this happening.
Well, I can tell you, but I have to tell you.
Fantastic, man. Thanks again. Appreciate it. We'll call your stuff below. Anything else we missed that we should talk about? Or is that
just pray. If you believe in God, pray for the truth to come out. And I've sent out over $1,000 of books to the current administration, and I would have done it to the Biden administration as well if they said they were into disclosure. Maybe it will come out. It will be as beautiful a moment as the Berlin Wall coming down. We'll be free. And then we can make our government and our world a better place, but only after telling the truth about our most.
Thanks again.
Sure. Bye.
I have 2 hours about this horrible story coming out of Minnesota. Here today because an unspeakable tragedy has unfolded. Our criminal story.
I'm looking forward to speaking with you.
Pleasure.
Alrighty.
That it can't be stopped because it's also about
Well,
justice. It's also about the truth.
get under the blankets.
And I'm still here despite everything. And because these persons.
I have to go to the bathroom like 15 times. I gotta go again. You're good.
Destroyed.
You're welcome.
1999 was the first time you came out.
In 19, JFK came out.
I will. I'm working on something, but I'll go to the bathroom in a second.
And I had to walk out my jeep.
Thank you.
Well, one of them could come in with the film JFK. And
He what?
the film JFK came out for Oliver Stone.
Yes.
And started playing, I had to leave. Of course, everybody noticed because I was the chaperone for all these kids, all these teenagers. It was Saturday night, and we had popcorn and all that. I went to the church and prayed, and something stirred in my heart. I had waited so long to speak out, but I had kids. The day after my last child left home, which was December 26, 1998, I finally dared to take out the film JFK and look at it. Of course, it made me ill. If you understood all that I had gone through, you'd understand how I'd hidden it. I thought, sure, I promised Lee I would speak out. He said, I'd only ask you to please let my little girls know that I was a good guy. And I let him down. I was afraid. Now something stirred in me because it said in Oliver Stone's movie there, it said, silence, is evil too. Be silent is to. And I knew I couldn't be silent anymore. I laid out all the evidence. I did all. I had boxes and boxes. Why did I save evidence? I was in a project secretly funded by the CIA and the Mafia, so to kill female Castro. And I'll show you the special training and everything I had for that. But the whole idea was we thought we were saving the world. It's like today, if somebody said, hey, we ought to kill Putin, you guys would be involved because it'll look like natural. Biological weapon was being created, and I got involved in that.
So let's go back. So first of all,
So I just want to say I laid out the evidence
yes,
on the bed and looked at it, and I started shaking all over because I knew I had to.
This was after you watched the JFK film.
I watched the film, and so by January 1999, I was teaching at university. I don't want to mention all that, but the fact is that you have a big break, until way after New Year's, Christmas. So I actually wrote most of the book. You'll later find out 60 Minutes was amazed because they have.
That sounds like a plan.
They replayed them and asked me the same questions. I was, yep.
That's right. That's right.
So anyway,
Oh,
that's
100%.
well, now I've had four. They're at questions. I got hit by cars 3 times. I've had one time a hood. Trunk of the car was slammed down on my head. There have been everything.
So, Lee Harvey Oswald.
I always ask that question, but I got to tell you how I got to New Orleans and everything. Because if I do that, you're not going to figure out why he was there or anything.
Let's start there and then let's rewind. Because
All right.
I think people that are watching this interview, they might be confused about who you are. And I think it's important that we lay out.
Oh, all right. Of course. All right.
I have to go. I will. Just one moment. What did you say? I don't know. Just a friend of mine said this guy had good podcasts. They're just interesting podcasts. So, this lady, I don't know, apparently knew Lee Harvey Oswald. Oh boy. Are you still cold? All right, well, get under the covers. You'll be fine. Yes, you do. If you're really cold, you can drink tea or like an herbal tea or just even warm water. What kind of tea do you like? That's good. Good for you. Green tea's great. Good on you. Absolutely. All right, I'll be right back.
decide to bring it. Cover this on TV when there's 10,000 people sitting downtown LA. I don't know if that's on purpose, so they don't stay in the plane. I don't know. But we're going to get by and we're going to, as soon as a news station see the audio or hear the audio. But we're going to be on here live, covering all of it. Michael Monks is downtown LA. We got Neil Sabater coming in live today. We're going to cover it all at least until 9, 10 o'clock tonight live. People down. It has the potential for really blowing up. It hasn't yet, but there's a lot of people downtown and a lot of it. And so that is a power thing. Live, covering downtown on KFI AM 640 Fort Altitude. KFI traffic as we check your ride into downtown LA, where of course the no means demonstrations continue. 110 North cross down to the 4-level interchange. Hollywood Freeway 101 southbound for traffic breaks between Melrose and 101 northbound from the East LA interchange up to the 4-level is also mostly right. You'll find delays as well on the 5 southbound from the 134 down to the East LA interchange. 60 eastbound just beyond Fullerton Road is an accident in the left-hand lane. We're not seeing any delays in and around that accident scene. With Southern California's most accurate traffic reports, I'm Mike Morris.
We're with Rachel, whose husband won't be home for months, and whose daughter is due any day. We're with Mike, who's leaving home to protect his family and yours. We're with all service members and their families who need community, connection, and maybe magic. Are you with them? Learn more at USO.org today. The free iHeartRadio app is #1 for music, radio, and podcasts, all in one. Discover a new podcast from our library of over 350,000 titles. Here's an iHeartRadio podcast preview. Parties, participators, University in the middle of California. So frustrating that it can't be resolved. You can't have to be safe location. Operations not giving up fish. This risk is high. Follow this podcast for free on the iHeartRadio app. #1 for music, radio, and podcasts, all in one.
This call got me. It was my direction. So hard to break.
You don't have to play your part. Donating my plasma, I'm the big boss. You deserve respect as much as everyone else. I'm a nurse.
I'm a delivery woman, chef, and the artist.
Let's go. I'm a doctor. Help stop the spread of anti-Asian racism by visiting iHeartRadio.com/FightTheViolence. Brought to you by Love Husband Labels, the Ad Council, and iHeartRadio.
This year's performers is 4th of July fireworks show in New York City. It'll be hosted by Oscar winner and Broadway star Ariana DeBose. The crowd is very interested in the acts. Will also be the stage for the 149th edition of the fireworks display Lights Up the Sky, the country's largest stage display, which will find this year some 80,000 shells will be launched off the Brooklyn Bridge and 4 barges in the east. There will be multiple viewing opportunities across Manhattan and Queens. Kanye West is at the courthouse in support of Sean Diddy Combs in his sex crimes trial in New York City. On the stand, a special agent was involved in searching Combs' Los Angeles home with guns and bottles of baby oil taken from the place. A former girlfriend of Combs wrapped up near the opening of testimony that included detailing hotel
All right, Mr. Chorus, I'm back. Good for you, girl. Get cozy. Take a nap.
Shepherding.
That's right.
They were prestigious.
That's okay.
Especially trained, fast tracked
That's right.
later. But the bottom line is I came early.
Sweet dreams.
I will explain later. And I was 3. They weren't ready for me. They were out of town. Instead of being met on a steak dinner, I always mentioned that before for other interviews. And champagne and say, "You're here, we love you, we'll show you around." And I go to the YMCA where I expected a room to myself, and they said, "Who are you?" My first thoughts, I don't have any money. My grant,
Yes, ma'am.
How old are you?
19.
19.
Yeah. My first thought.
Yeah, that's weird. I'm going to restart it. Thank you for letting me know.
Heavy set waitress. She was going to steal my stuff. We had to pay her $25 a day so she could steal our stuff. All right, so I'm in that room. But the stripper said, "Honey, you haven't seen the world, have you?" I said, "No." I said, "How would you like to come around with us?" Now, I'm an Aztec. I'm heavily trained. And here I am seeing the seediest parts of New Orleans. I mean, when I stepped off the bus, the first thing I heard was a gunshot. If you understand what it's like.
You're heavily trained in what?
Well, I was heavily trained in how to handle specific viruses that were being developed for biological weapon purposes.
At the age of 19.
Absolutely.
When you first got shipped to New Orleans.
That's right. And I have all the proof.
And so how old were you when you first started studying these viruses and learning about this
15.
What?
Yeah, here's a picture of, see this? My grandmother died in October 1956.
Okay.
She died of cancer. My grandfather was dying of cancer. And I was determined with all my heart to love my grandmother so much. In fact, the picture is on my credit card. Yeah. And her memory, and the magnificent woman she was, and she was wiped out by cancer and suffered.
Sorry.
Yeah. Well, there's other family members as well.
Yeah.
It's just endemic. So that was I was determined. Of course, what can a 15-year-old do? I found cancer's fish, and they were special breed. Mollies, black mollies. Maybe you didn't know this about them, that they don't get inseminated by the male. The male just excites them, and they only produce from their own eggs without any kind of insemination. Now they've got a male organ. They have a male organ that penetrates, but there's nothing there.
Oh, there's no sperm.
That's right. That's right.
Interesting.
So it's sort of like cheetahs. A lot of people don't realize that genetic variation of cheetahs is very tiny. They make great lab animals, except they're very expensive.
Okay.
Well, mollies aren't, And so I just sort of determined, I'm sure they had cancer, but I had to find out, and we took the mollies. By that time, I'd been friends with a lady running the American Cancer Society for the whole area where I was living there, right in Sarasota. And we met Dr. Alton Oxner, who was he was there for the opening of the Watson Clinic on Lakeland, I believe it was. And so he saw my mollies, and he said, "You got to go to the mice." So then I was rounding up mice, and then finally Rockefeller Foundation.
So where did you meet Alton Oxner?
At the Watson Clinic dedication.
Which was where?
I believe it was in Lakeland, Florida.
In Lakeland?
Yeah.
And you were around 15?
At the time, yeah.
Okay.
So I had my own lab by then.
Wow.
I'll tell you why.
Child prodigy.
Well, that's why I have to start at the beginning.
Yes.
All right, I really do.
Yeah. Well, this is the beginning, right?
No,
Oh, there's
we're
more
talking
before
about my
this.
Oh gosh, yes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's why I'd like to get into it.
Okay, cool. Let's do it.
All right, but understand that they had I hear I was loose about meeting Lee Oswald. That's not good because I was in the back. They were police raiding. I mean, I barely escaped police raid at one of the clubs. Down in the back room there, they're putting on pasties and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mustn't be rounded up with this kind of people, But I was free. I mean, I didn't even know what it was like to be free because from age 15 on, you have to remember when Sputnik, when Sputnik came up. Look at when Sputnik came up. Go ahead and look.
Was it 69?
Oh no, much earlier.
57.
Yes. In 1956, there was a Bulgarian Revolution. My grandmother died already by then. In 57, Sputnik came out, and the United States government had bananas.
Right.
Because they realized how far behind they rounded up all high IQ kids. And I was one of them. You had to have an IQ of 150 or more. I had an 60. They at age 15 is when, anyway, what they did is anybody with really high IQ, then they went and investigated them. They didn't have to do that with my family, so that's why I wanted to bring up my father. Can you see it?
Yeah, we can see it. Yeah. Handsome fella. Down with it.
Okay. Okay.
So, what's he holding?
He's holding a new microphone. He invented all kinds of things.
Wow.
He invented items that I told you that he worked with Robert Adler in Chicago. It often took me, I got to see Adler's labs. Adler is the co-founder or co-creator, so-called of the...
Tilt it this way a little bit. See the... Tilt it towards,
I
towards
see.
that. There you go, right there.
Okay,
Perfect.
I see it. Oh, see, thank you for allowing me. I appreciate that. All right, so that's my father. Now, you can't tell from just this early photo, but he helped in World War II to find Nazi stations that were distributed across America because he was able to figure out their frequencies, the radio frequencies, and so on.
Wow.
So he got clearance from the United States government at an early age. And the whole family, I remember them investigating us, Even I, a small girl, was being questioned, and everything. So, we had a head start that way. My father wasn't just an ordinary man either. I say working for Adler. It turned out that Robert Adler, just like Edison, how Edison got Tesla to work on his materials and everything.
Right.
It's the same sort of thing. My dad was inventing lots of things for Adler. Adler gave him money, but Adler got the credit for all the patents.
Got it.
That's what happened.
Okay.
We didn't mind because Dad made so much money. Eventually, he was going to retire. He was only 41 years old to Florida. But why did he retire? He wanted to be a rocket scientist more than anything. It was in my book. You can see. I love it if somebody just hold up the book and you're talking about. Yeah. Now that's advertisement. Yeah, I appreciate that.
This
Okay,
is your
so,
book.
yeah.
It's called Lee Harvey Oswald
All right,
and
1 minute.
Right.
Oh, there it is. 45 and nothing on the
And this are in better shape than that one. Yeah, some of these books got $7. Actually, most of them do. So we heard the Oswald meeting. I'll tell you, it's got a lot of information background. We don't have time to talk about it.
I miss Kevin.
Bottom line is, my dad, was sent to the US and every day. He was already doing stuff
That's a
with
big
the
no-no.
and so on. But my mother refused to have us go to Los Alamos and live behind our fire.
Yeah.
And they also said that maybe have to move to small election when I get home. Everything. So my mother didn't want to go get
Charles
married.
never said shit.
Became regional outreach.
Literally, Charles Lancaster.
But that
Charles
Lancaster,
Last message I got was 9 minutes ago. He's ready.
My name is Very Baker.
Yeah. There you have it. All them out on their shit.
That came from my father's side. Some Germans had it as well. I love my grandmother.
Short bus.
I love my
Up to you.
oh, yeah.
When you're gonna
I
make
love
such
my
an
grandmother very
outrageous,
much, and she was a big
slanderous statement about me, I'm gonna call you on it. We'll give you a chance to win money. And I'm pretty sure
she died of
it's only
cancer
7,300.
a couple of weeks before the Hungarian Revolution. It's very
But I can
famous.
tell you this.
That was
This has happened more than
October
once.
23rd,
And I'm
1956.
sure there's got to be at least 5
Now,
people in
let
this
me tell
room
you
of the
something.
7,000+ that have been here before when I did the
Absolutely.
same
And
offer.
also,
All you got to do is,
my
I'll give you
grandfather was
1,000 just for that.
diagnosed
Show
with
me what
cancer
you're
for
talking
2 years.
Okay.
And excuse me,
Sure.
And
I
nothing.
want to cry because our life changed so
This is the
much
first,
after my
this is
grandmother died.
turn your volume up if you don't like uploading.
I actually skipped a couple grades in school, and I actually dropped out of school for
Turn it
about a
up.
year. I just went in and took their test and
Whirly,
dropped
thank
out.
you.
I didn't go to school. So it's interesting being on both. Spent a lot of time not going to school. We had some very parallel lives at this time. It's amazing. That was a little older. Really short-wave radio. Remember, my dad had the best short-wave. And back then,
Don't get
that's
called
the
on it.
internet.
There you go. There's a better overhead shot.
Short-wave, we got the news. And by the way, it was
People would
real
just
news,
say.
not what we call views today. Okay?
Right.
It was the real thing. So I was hearing machine guns going off, or hearing bombs going off, or hearing Gary's begging, where were you? You said you're going to help us. And
So now, hold on. Is that a second?
Somebody else was in Stevens Rap. It was on October 23rd, 1956. He's listening on shortwave radio.
Heard that. I'm not going to turn this into a war zone. Okay, so stranded motorist.
This is when he was stationed in Japan.
No.
You said it was a Camry, but okay.
He just turned 17.
Oh.
He tried when he was 16 to join the Marines, and with fake birth certificate, the mafia made for him that didn't work. His mother went anyway.
All right, you have
I was
something?
fine with Lee. He was the youngest, and when
Surprise
his
Marcel
brothers
is
in the military.
I'm trying to find
So
that. I
he
bet
tried
they
to
are.
join.
I
Well,
bet
now
they're
he's
trying to find that
17.
right now.
He's thinking about joining.
That's
He'd like to
a
finish high
big part of
school.
the thing. Someone trying to run people over because they're angry and they
That's on
won't,
the
you know.
23rd. On the 24th, we joined the
You think
Marines.
30 to 50K?
That's what we told him.
30 to
Everybody
45,000?
telling me he's communist, all that is a front because he wanted to be a spy. His great dream was to do like Herbert
It's hard to have kind of tell the
His,
difference.
I led to my life, so I
Out
have
right
a very
now?
important document I sent you guys. Because I was sent to the Orleans, to Buffalo, New York at one point for training. And I'm going to show you the fashion of that today, why that's important. So we have enough
Well,
time.
don't
It's
dock
wonderful
me, Sean. I don't care
Yes.
about that. I just
things like
You
this
don't like when
because
people
the
lie
background
about
is so important to understand.
you not like me, that's fine. You just have that.
Not just a girlfriend.
But don't
In fact,
lie
I
about
consider myself his fiance.
Don't lie. Never said
Lee
anything
Oswald,
racist
yes, I'll
or
tell
anything.
you. Lee Oswald
Have we heard racist things on this place at the city council? We have. But I didn't
I
say it.
talked to him only
I wasn't
37
the one who said it.
before the assassination. He left his wedding ring behind
I surely didn't say it, but we heard it. We hear it all the time from the
because he
LEC.
told me I'm not going to come with you that wedding ring. He left it behind. So there's a lot
Not
more I
impressed
can
with
tell
the
you.
slightest with what? The crowd or me? Which
He
one?
was a real significant. She kept that private for years. Maria Oswald did when she heard that. He left it behind because he intended to marry someone else and she sold it.
Too bad, Diesel Pilot. Too bad. You gotta get better sneakers.
No, hell no. We don't want a lot of that.
That's right. So she found so he realized background.
Okay, so
Let's go back.
I want to go back to Alton Ochsner.
No, that's not that far enough. I'll just go a little bit here, show you
Yeah,
some
don't talk.
pictures
I don't
because
want
when these this
as much as
came
somebody
along,
tries
that's
to
when I
take
got
me as a
online.
bad thing, I don't
Yeah,
need to
his
take
name was
for that
Dr.
and do that.
Nicholson.
I'm just here to prove my innocence, and I did. Simple.
Now, the only way I can prove
I don't
this
need
is
to dox
using a fake
anybody.
name.
You know why?
It happened to be in our state newspaper. We're
I'm
talking about his
better.
whole history, like he'd been a spy for Hitler. I mean, against
I don't
Hitler.
go into other
pretending
people's
he
rooms
killed
if I
Hitler.
don't like their streams.
He took a shiner and thank God
I
because
have
he
manners.
interviewed me
Even
and
if I don't
two
like
others.
them. I realized in my short life that Time is precious.
all
So
three
for
of
me
us
to waste any
scored
minute,
very
I'd rather
high
be up
on
playing a
IQs
video game
and stayed
than
afloat.
going to somebody
Here at
else's
the
room and
same
start
school.
talking crap.
Probably if and one of us, I don't know
Makes no
whether
sense.
when they made
I'd
that trip,
legitimately
but
rather go to your room
and we
get
focused
cards,
on me and for
sorted,
almost 2
shipped.
weeks.
That makes money.
Taught me all kinds of things.
Shit
I
ain't
think
making
it's
no
because
money.
I was a girl
You know, talking
and I
shit
never
will
had
make no money.
a daughter or something. But he told me all about his life and how his family rejected him. Boy, do I know how that feels now. Because they all thought that he was working as a spy for Hitler. Because and all that. And you know what? He was to me. You should see his face because his whole family was rejecting him because he was doing the same sort of thing, pretending to be pro-Castro and all that.
Right. The fake defection to the
And
Soviet
imagine
Union.
he said, here's one of the things he said, he got arrested in August.
Not all those got burned.
Disturbance and all that.
If anybody knows where this is, let me
What happened
know.
there, but he said, you have no idea.
Looks like somewhere on Ventura Boulevard.
Pico Rabbit.
Clean, for my family and
I don't know, it could be
Orange,
fucking
where I was born in
Orange County,
37
don't know.
at the time.
They're not putting
And
anything
disgraced
out.
Oh
my
yeah,
family.
it's
They're doing this in my country. But it really hurt it. And I just about cried with it because I understood. Because of Nicholson told me. So I told him all the stuff
Is that
Nicholson
Pacific
did.
Coast Highway?
And there are other things that I was able to tell him.
Maybe we are in Orange County.
And he
Seal Beach.
went up.
Thank you, Robert.
He had no one to talk to.
Oh yeah, that is Seal Beach.
Seal Beach.
My doctor's right there.
It's 5 went the other way because they were Broadway Airport.
So we're talking about all that training. Now, all Knoxville.
I didn't ban him from the room, Ted.
There's this is very interesting.
Let him come on in, Ted.
That way they my own lab. The military officers
I didn't
insist
ban
that I
him.
go
He's still in there to say
Okay. When you're, and again, you're still,
I'm in high school.
you're in high
a
school.
few more lies. All it is now, anything he says has zero credibility.
Please.
He could have made himself a grand, crushed me out, crushed my entire work. Anything I've ever stood for in 8 years.
That's where I got all my cancer research.
And made himself a grand.
Okay.
And so you really know I got to see it. And although there's
Since
circumstances
he wasn't a
why
man
I
and
was
he
able
didn't accept the bet, I guess I can't
It
collect my
didn't matter
$100 not
because
to
all
give
of a sudden
it.
I got opioids on my son. I got Walter Reed Institute. But
Or somebody would do
they're
that to
sending
me.
me
I'll take
material,
10
they're
to
sending
1
me
on.
materials, including esoteric
That's
chemicals and things.
Polish.
I'm getting
That's a
I got
declaration of
most of them
independence.
from the Rockefeller Foundation.
Long
And later I would get them from other sources, and it's from banks. They launder this through the banks, offering the mice.
I think they're looking for their car, yes.
All
They just
really,
can't find it.
I
I
was
mean,
being
that's the
started
CFP
already
right
in
there.
the
Short bus, thank you.
I ended up, I went back up now, showing this Edison birds as Cold War aid. I want you to see this.
Roscoe and Van Nuys. Okay,
And
so
you might list,
Roscoe and Van Nuys would have another
so,
protest.
that's all Knoxville. This is
They'd
1960.
have the
At
first
the same
neighbors
time,
in the army.
I've gone to the International Science Fair and so on.
Melanie, thank you so much.
Oshner to propose plan to U.S. State Department. Dr. Alden Oshner said Friday he will propose that the United States State Department enlist something medical profession in the Cold War with communist nations. As soon as the new federal administration
That's a
takes
sizable
over,
group right there.
I
You gotta
plan to call
understand. You
on
don't
the
see the
new
street.
Secretary of
The street,
State,
the sidewalks have disappeared.
Rusk,
You don't see a
with
piece.
my recommendation, he said.
Okay, so El Knox there ends up being on the secret side of things, all right, to try and kill Fidel Castro.
All right, so
What
Alton
happened last night? Yeah, Scott went
was
to the protest and he left, and so we left.
what was his background?
I
He was
don't know.
basically
I'm
the first
guessing they
doctor,
still
if I'm
stayed
not
there
mistaken,
into the night,
to
pumping their
correlate
horses,
lung cancer with
beating
smoking,
on the
right?
Right,
sides,
and by the
beating on,
way,
pots and
I'll be
cans.
talking about how I gave lung cancer to mice in only 7 days. I got his attention. Imagine.
So he was, he had a lot of ties to South American leaders, like the leader of Panama, and he also had lots of, he was rubbing shoulders with like celebrities and music people,
Everywhere.
and he was very highly regarded allegedly, from what I've read, that he worked with the FBI for some clandestine operation. He did some sort of secret work for the FBI.
We
And
have,
this is
not
true.
only FBI, I have documents in my possession showing that his last contact with actual proof was November 1963.
And Alton Ochsner was, when we had Jack Cruz on the podcast a few months back in October, I think it
Right.
was. He was explaining kind of the history with Ochsner and what was the name of the hospital in New Orleans again?
That's out to the clinic.
The Ochsner Clinic in New Orleans, and how
And
Ochsner
also
famously
Tulane.
That's what it was, Tulane.
He was associated with Tulane, and we were associated with the Tulane and also with Covington, the primary research center, very important.
Right. And when the Salk polio vaccine was first starting to get rolled out, Ochsner was so behind it, as well as the political people that were behind the first rollout of the Salk polio vaccine.
We had to go back to
He said he came out and did this last minute letter to California. He said he did this test on a couple monkeys with the polio vaccine.
It was also Sarah Stewart. Yes. Unfortunately, he mixed up Sarah Stewart's with Dr. Mary Sherman's name. It was really Dr. Mary Sherman
Right.
that was working with me in New Orleans.
So right before they rolled out that vaccine, he said he did a test on some monkeys and with the Salk vaccine, and they were sterilized. He sent photos of that to their bosses at the NIH, and they all panicked and freaked out and said, "Oh my God, no! Like we're going to roll this out anyway." And Ochsner was behind this, and he was talking to a lot of political big shots. And Ochsner said, "You know what? We're going to go in front of this auditorium, and now I'm going to inject my two grandchildren with the Salk
I
vaccine."
actually did. I sent you a picture.
His granddaughter died. I think
No, his grandson died in 2 weeks.
in 2 weeks, and his granddaughter was paralyzed. Right?
That's right. And he did this in front of the press and everything. Now, that taught him a big lesson. This is what you have to understand. He trusted his doctors. He trusted them. Now he realizes Castro has doctors that trust him, that he trusts. And some of them secretly hate his guts.
How do you?
There are ways to get to Castro, if not that text. When a doctor asks for a vial of insulin, they take it out of, somebody takes it out of the refrigerator, we put it in. You have to understand how there's so many ways to get to Castro.
So Ochsner essentially worked as like a special surgeon for the FBI, right?
No, CIA, FBI is on the peripheral. He actually founded Inca. He was
Inca,
co-founder.
yes, that was the radio program, right?
No, this was called
They were part of the radio program, it's called Inca, I believe.
that's right. They went to over 3,000 radio stations all over Latin America, Middle America, and so on. All right.
And he founded that. There was also some FBI people that were on the board of Inca.
Of course.
Yeah.
One of them was my boss. And let's get started. There was something I want you to see. This is Thursday, March 15th. I'm going in chronological order.
Okay.
You got that from 1967, when that started. In 62, JFK comes to New Orleans to dedicate a pier. Now, all the people that hated JFK, Alton Ochsner has to be at the top. Despised the man, hated
We
him.
have two in the valley, one off the Roscoe and Van
She thought he
Nuys,
was a
one
communist.
up Topanga
This guy's,
and
you can't get anybody more anti-communist than
Like
Alton
I said,
Ochsner.
it's going to be so spread out.
Right.
This, the idea of catering to anything, any
Brandon,
demands, is completely, of course, the CIA told them what they thought of him because of gay pigs and all that. They JFK take the blame, and it wasn't him. There's a lot I can tell you about David Ferry and how he thought that JFK was to blame as well. David Ferry, someone that I sent you a clip about him, and I don't know whether you.
David Ferry was a CIA pilot.
He was always a CIA pilot.
Okay.
The thing is that I say always. I mean, but in
I
the
think it's 10 to 15.
anytime from the day it kicks on, okay, and before they was training the
Crowded.
anti-Castro pilots for the CIA and things like
My
that.
professional
And he
opinion
was
as
a
a fact right opposite that I am.
But I want you to see this. It's going to be very remarkable. This is from the Congress of the United States. All right. Thursday, March 15, 1962. Kennedy is going to come to New Orleans. Guess who's in charge of all the details for his visit?
I understand y'all met Tom.
Alton
Ochsner, a surgeon.
who hates him. He gets all the information about you.
He's a handsome
He
man.
gets all the information about you.
Yes.
Remember, they had a parade. All the parade information about you and everything. That's what become very valuable. You're talking about 1963, a year later. This is March 62. And everybody was
Just a quick little drop in to see if
so here's the doctor. He is in charge of
Josh sent something
everything.
late. No, Melanie, thank you.
He goes up to
Nobody
surgery.
sent anything in late. Just checking, clearing everything else.
President Kennedy will deliver his address in the city's municipal auditorium about 11 a.m. on May 4th. However, further details of the visit will be determined by the president at the White House conference with Boggs and New Orleans Mayor Victor Shire next Thursday morning. What does it say? What is the
What's going on?
Here, let me get it back. I'll read the part that. Sorry about that. All right. Okay.
Oh,
Congressman
Tom!
Boggs says,
Well, then give me the damn crowd estimate.
um,
You're the professional here. We need your professional opinion. Come on, Tom.
just a moment.
That crowd's not this one, Tom.
The International House of New Orleans will sponsor the president's visit to the Crescent City. Congressman Boggs said, Dr. Alton
Fiona,
Ochsner,
thank you,
president
Fiona.
of International House
Appreciate you,
and
Fiona.
this internationally famous surgeon,
Tom's
will
watching.
be in charge of arrangements in New Orleans for the president's
Hey.
visit.
Okay.
Watching you.
Where's that at?
Calm
Just
down.
about where-
Oh yeah, Dr.
Need
Ochsner,
your
Dr.
professional
Alton
opinion,
Ochsner,
Tom.
president
What's
of
this
the
crowd
International House
size?
of Internationally famous surgeon, in charge of arrangements in New Orleans for the president's visit.
I say 10 to 15,000, Tom. They're trying to tell me it's tens and tens and tens
Congress
of
of the
thousands.
United States House of Representatives, Washington, D.C. for immediate release, Thursday, 15,
I don't believe
March
so.
15,
I think that's more like 10 to
I've got
15.
all kinds of documents other people don't have.
I'm gonna need your professional opinion.
Here's the
I
picture.
know we don't
Let's
have
go
the other
back a
top
little bit about, as I
top
said,
side at
getting
500,
out on the
600
web
feet
and all
right now.
that. It
Gonna have
got
to do
into
that.
probably one of the reasons I didn't get killed like almost everybody did in these projects is because I was just too much into news.
Right.
Newspaper articles and lots of stuff showing me
Right
in
now.
labs.
Doing another orbit.
Yeah, they want to show them. I can't see well enough to do it.
Fast calculations going on in his mind right now. I can see it right now. It's working out.
All right, this is essentially, this is probably in the emails, right? This is a picture of you, I'm assuming, doing some lab work.
Yeah, that was in my lab. Now, that lab,
Anti-sin, cancer cause.
All right, you come up with his answer.
Okay, all right.
See,
you'll
after he
notice
did
when it
all
says
that,
national need there,
came up with
all right, the scientists.
comments is,
It
I
says
would
that
say it's
they're
under
about-
10K, maybe around 7,000. Thank you, sir.
No, I'm not saying
Okay,
this.
thank you, sir. Thank you, Tom.
So, too.
Anyways, yeah, no, I get the gist of it.
Well, this is important.
Okay, so now we have Hollywood and New Hampshire going off in Hollywood, 2 in the valley, and 1 in downtown.
Okay.
What's important is that this wasn't any ordinary. I crashed it,
No
actually,
protest at all.
and they were going to arrest me. But I had nobody. The work I
Okay,
was
so now
doing
they're trying to
so
tell me over
fast,
to
and
North
all the
Hollywood,
doctors I was
Mississippi,
working with, even though two of them
Through
were
a
trained in
Canyon.
Oak Ridge, understood what I was doing.
Which we got that call
See,
yesterday.
Dr. Alton
There wasn't
Ochsner would be
anybody.
there. Also,
Tom says
Dr.
7K.
Deal, who is the vice president of
That's what I mean.
American Cancer
A lot of
Society.
people
All
don't
three
see
of
a
them
lot.
came
They'll tell
to
you
my lab.
grand, so, oh,
When we
it's
saw
grand. They said it.
otherwise, the lab
They must have
hit,
counted.
people were scared because the way the
I'd
mice
much
looked,
rather take his crowd out
for
here.
years and
He
everything.
does.
They moved me into the stadium. They rebuilt
I know
me
he's
back
gonna tell me
into the stadium.
Okay, so
Not
Ochsner came down there. You were already doing all this research on cancer.
Yeah.
You were like a child prodigy cancer researcher
I
at the age
gave,
of 15.
I gave, but now I'm 17.
Now you're 17, and then they share, and then Ochsner ships you somehow.
Oh, wait, no. All right. First of all, when you see what I've got, I was able to show them and proved it with all my documents and everything.
Okay.
that I gave my lung cancer in only 7 days.
Yeah.
It would take me 4 years to duplicate what I did because it had to be duplicated proof I did it at Rothschild Park Institute by Dr. James T. Grace.
Okay.
I did it in 3 months. It took them 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah, well, you've got to think out of the box.
Okay.
That's the problem. So, yeah. All right. So, when this happened, they sent me to Rothschild Park Institute.
And I'll shoot you a scooter for the
Not
no.
just ordinary training. I was a doctor who was in charge of 800 researchers. And we also had a program going on with students and all that.
Oh,
They
well,
could
no,
sit
scooter,
in
that
teams
bomb
so they
I
could
just
listen
got,
to
that was
give me their, you know. And I actually went to
Step
seminars
back
by Dr. Moran. And we've got
Apparently
a
he had it for a
photograph
while, so I
I
don't know,
sent
maybe
to
it was
you.
like my birthday gift
It shows
last year.
me
Haven't
one
seen
of
it.
6 people they pick out to interview. So they got the papers and all that. Buffalo New York and so on.
Not,
Why is it
not to
important?
mention,
Because
I can use
I
that
was
one because
the
down-
students
the
called
down
using
stem
versus with the
or the, the
That's
neck
okay. Don't worry about it.
is very small, almost small. So it's
basically
easy for my mouth
what's
to kind
going
of
on
get
is
around
that
it. The other ones that
I
have are
just
larger, so
one of
it's
these
harder
other
for
students.
my lips
I'm
to
in
create a seal. That's the
I
problem.
need to
On
work.
this side of my lip won't shut down and create a seal.
Okay.
We're working
When
on a
you,
special
you're
formula
brushing your
for
teeth
throat
in the
cancer.
morning and you
Sounds
gargle and
faster
you're trying to
than
swish
any
it
other
back and
formula
forth.
on Earth.
I switch to this side,
Now, what
stuff
do you do?
comes
They
out.
want to go cancer cells fast, and
My mouth
so they can
there
figure out the
is
total
the car I
so they can
believe.
figure out
This is
how
the Honda
to.
slash what's supposed to be Volkswagen.
Yeah, that's
That was
you see,
the
I'm
stranded
the
motorist
woman, the
that
girl
was
there.
attempting to possibly run somebody over allegedly. I don't see the driver.
They just
Could
supposed
be in
to
the
be
back
down
of one of the
standing
cars.
and so they grab this together. But we're talking
That's the car that we
60.
were hearing
There are
about
about 60
on the
of
old
these students there, and some of them were
possibly
they were from
ready
all
to
over
run
the United
somebody
States,
over.
and Hungary and everywhere.
Okay.
That's
But I
it.
really
If
was
they
only
find
part of
it,
that group for seminars. I was in Dr. Moore's own lab. And at that time, they were working with bacteriophages, or working with the
yeah, I mean, like I said, it was a gift. This was awesome.
and
Shout out to
I became an
Justin.
expert
Shout out
in
to Sherman
this
Glass
with a few.
for always making
I
really,
helped
really.
develop something called the RPMI 1640 formula.
That's it,
It's
straight
very
gun.
complicated and kills cancer faster than anything.
Oh, well, I hope my baby gets better. If not, I don't know. Throwing rocks at cars in North Korea.
Do more research on how to make cancer more. Well, they told me it's because we have to figure out how to, you know, if we can grow it faster, it gives us ideas on how to That was a lie. I was being
What was the
introduced.
logic? If we can grow it faster, we can
Targeted
figure out how to
political
control it.
violence.
Well, well, the idea being like, if you give kids milk, they're going to grow
One of their
faster.
own group
Therefore,
that
if you
went
don't
out
kill
and did
kids,
it,
you're
and
not
when
going
they
to
killed the
milk.
dude
That's
who
the
did it,
idea.
so he can't sell anything on anybody. That's the throw back
Just
at
like that.
Okay.
All right.
It's
all
like
right.
the Brooks guy that we don't know anything about
But
anything.
they're prestigious doctors. and
Apparently, he's the only
doctors.
teenager in the world who's never been on the internet.
Important
Not
people.
one time.
After all, I became cancer in 7 days. So I have methods that they were fascinated with and everything.
By the way, how? How
Here we
did you
go
get
again.
to some days?
I
We
knew
get this
Dr.
over
James
again,
for
same
years.
shit.
They were a
Cadillac
great
trying to
family.
get through, they wouldn't
My
let him through.
grandmother knew the Renier family who were born in
Now you
Vienna.
got a car just trying to drive through.
And we're
One
right
person
across the
gets
border,
angered
a
because
couple
God
of
forbid the car's
just
on the
miles
road.
away, of course they knew each other. That's what I'm saying.
How dare a car be on the road?
Educated.
This is our road. These are our streets. That's all my stuff.
So I went overseas 7 times to
I
that
get it for
training.
free.
This is what the girls
I
said
want to go to
back then.
school and waste your money and then not pay for the schooling because I deserve it. It's mine.
To South Bend, that's where I was living. That's where my family was. So we have a bunch of Hungarians there. South Bend, Indiana, he was a professor at the University of Notre Dame. My family donated land in Notre Dame. You could see a small cemetery. I could get buried there if I wanted. Okay. So we're talking about close ties. So yes, of course, the ties continued. Dr. William. He ended up being the first person to develop germ-free mice.
Germ-free mice.
We have them all over the place now because they introduce a germ from a mouse and find out really what happens without any
Still
interference.
getting it done though.
Pure clean
Pure
mice.
clean mice, but let me tell you, you have to put them in an environment where nothing can reach it, no germs, like bubble.
Okay, right. But how do you get the cancer?
Well, that's the point. Is cancer something you can give them?
No
Or
way,
is it
you're
because
lying,
of
Tom.
ED, whatever?
No way.
If germ-free mice and you
So
introduce
you
them,
mean to tell me they had a monster that went rogue on their side? No way.
and I did.
But with what virus?
No
If I
way.
mention it, I'm going to get in trouble, right?
Go ahead. No, don't worry about it. We'll say
Little
we'll
tampon
search that
kids
later.
disciples.
But I
No
don't know
way.
it was that. It was. They determined that later. I cannot prove that. There's a document. I
Just
cannot.
can't even write
And
it.
how did you?
So let me explain how I did this.
No, what I'm curious. Like, so you're trying. Your goal here is to see if you can give these mice
Well,
cancer.
hopefully not. They may.
Because I needed cancer in order to help
Remember, they're always peaceful.
kill
They're
cancer.
just peaceful
Without
people.
cancer.
I understand
Yeah.
why you're doing
Yeah.
this. I'm just trying to. I'm trying to
Yeah.
understand this. Okay. So your goal is to give these mice cancer, and what tools are you given, or what are you
Well,
looking for?
that's what I'm telling you.
And where and how do you decide which viruses, and why do you even choose viruses in the first place?
Wait just a second.
Okay.
So the fact of the matter is that remember I said I had made a new method of getting magnesium.
Yeah.
I had chambers that were built that were no one bit of oxygen got in these chambers. It would explode if it died.
Okay.
All right, so I had to put argon gas on top of the when we refined the magnesium. At one point, any oxygen got in, it exploded.
Want one of those nice, like,
So we helped
chats,
develop
like
two
floppy
chambers.
chat or whatever.
Those turned out to be
I used
perfect
one of those
for
that work outside.
germ-free mice and I could get in.
Okay.
Yeah, so we pumped the air
And
filter
it's all
out.
burned and shit.
Okay. So where did you get these viruses?
Well, we didn't know it at the time that I collected
It
lots
says
of cigarette butts from
20,000 in total.
everywhere. And that virus can be trapped in cigarette filters.
Can?
All kinds of viruses
A
can
lot.
be trapped in
Thousands.
these asbestos
20,000?
filters.
Okay.
No, I don't know, Tom.
It's just the
It's funny as
oxygen.
it, Tom.
I didn't
So
That's
you were taking
20K
cigarette
right
butts
We took
and
it from all over the city. It's beautiful
Granted,
that
it's a
way
sea
because
above
we
our-
couldn't do it. Say it all came from Manatee
They
County.
have
All my
snipers,
kids
yes. They have
lived
snipers on all the
probably
buildings.
50
Many.
pounds.
and you were somehow taking something off the cigarette butt and giving it to the rats.
Yes, but I was giving them wouldn't have killed the virus. We would kill almost any bacteria and all that. They didn't kill anything left. And since they were germ free, something got them. And then they found out that the mice, had that.
How did you find out?
Well, they were tested, but it wasn't everything. The reason I
People
didn't
back
bring
like
this up
they've
is I
been
don't have
doing,
the
so that way
documents
they
for
can
that.
get these trucks that are now arriving to come in.
Understood after they did the
See, people
testing.
are
That's why I
look,
sent
look, this is how it starts.
fast
One
track
pusher,
training
one
and
shover.
and especially to work with that virus.
So you gave the mice cancer in 7 days. They went, sent the tumors off to be tested.
Yes, these are ice scans.
They didn't tell you
See,
anything.
I had to crash this.
Ice go to a
I
raid.
couldn't get anybody to do the proper electron microscope work that had to be done to serve the virus, kind of whatever.
And then you go to New Orleans.
No,
Why do they
now
have
that's
snipers?
what
Well,
my
Max,
enemies
two
say.
reasons.
Oh,
One,
straight from
it's great to have
Why
one.
did your enemies say that?
That way you
because
can
they
see
try to
so much from above.
special training.
So the guys in that front line may not be able to see over the crowd and see that there's somebody making a Molotov cocktail back there. And he can say, hey, there's guys making Molotov cocktails back there right behind the one man and ahead of the running. So they can make a force to go out and find them.
And the document
So
says
there's that. Not to
it
mention,
should show
if
sister.
these people,
We
as
have
dumb
a
as
lot
most
to
of
get
them
through.
are,
Yeah.
And
decided
we're
to
already
get
an hour
just
in.
stupid and crazy
So
and tried to
let's
run
try
and
to move
attack
through
the
this.
building
All
and
right,
get inside of
you
it.
saw the document,
That's
so
when
I'm
you
just
start
going to say
taking
this.
shots.
I am doing research, good
And
cancer research.
unfortunately, you
Under
hit a
BYU,
couple,
I
then
started to do an abstract
another
showing
couple,
you
you
that
realize,
but
wait a
today,
minute, there's a couple
that
people
same
gone down here.
St.
I
Francis
think
University claims
let's
I
go
never
back.
did any cancer research,
Okay.
and I gave you,
By the way,
Better to have it and not need it.
well, yeah, let's just give you an idea of the kind of. Oops. Yeah, so when we're talking about scary,
Chris, what they're
you
trying to do
understand why
is
they
just
want
shake
to
the
move
narrative.
what I was
They
doing
didn't like
under
the
the
look,
stadium.
the news was showing all of what was going on, and it was a very bad optics in every single
The
flag.
tumor's bigger than the rat.
That's right.
Nothing
In
was
7
a very
days, it's
nothing. You see one.
That is a
It
mouse.
was every flag from every other.
Okay.
All right.
That
So
was
he
a
did
bad
terrible, of course.
Yeah.
What did they do?
Here's the
Showed
Eli
up.
Lilly
Yeah,
abstract.
abstract.
Okay, this says bacteriology chairman Gordon Mallet, Eli Lilly, an Indiana University, was elected chairman in 1962.
I'll just go down the
That's
answer.
all they're
Abstract
doing.
studies
The American people will swallow the
on
pill.
the increase of in
Folks, they're
vitro,
not so bad. Look, they're
in
American.
vitro
They love America.
of mitotic.
You want me to read it?
You read it. You're smarter than me. Your IQ's not double mine.
Please. No, I can just do it a little faster. Okay. Right. Studies of the increase in vitro mitotic activity in neurogenesis in the RPMI number 5711 from Restream Milano. Okay, so students very, it's just their references because I was a minor and I had to have someone with me. Yeah. But this is from obviously from St. Francis College, you know. But no, yeah, I gave you documents showing that they are claiming with them that they never did any such research. I think I gave you a piece of paper there to read.
This?
Yeah, because they claim that no research was done, that there was never any Sister Mary Veronica who gave me scholarship, and that they claimed I said I was 16. Other things are not true.
This is an original?
Yeah, that's the original.
Written in 2015?
Yeah, from investigator who asked them. Go ahead and read it.
Okay. I, Thomas R. Rosoff, Sr., went to St. Francis University in Fort Wayne, Indiana. I inquired from a sister there there about St. Mary
People are stuck in the train
University.
station, it sounds like.
These guys
Oh,
got
boy, that's
terrible
probably
handwriting.
what it was.
The nun said, "Oh, my old Latin teacher." Later, the archivist emailed me that there was no St. Mary.
Sister Mary Veronica.
There was no Sister Mary Veronica that taught at that university. This is 10/30/2015. I was surprised that
So they
the
are locked in.
archivist
That's a
nun
great fire
told me
hazard, Metro.
it's
I'm
untrue.
assuming, God forbid, there's a
So
fire.
then
Those
I
people
could say,
died.
never did
Metro's
any
getting
research, so I
sued.
got some other papers I could show you, but, you know, that's the one, I mean, it was, yeah.
Got it.
So, Eli Lilly gave them a brand new parking lot for $1 million right after that.
Oh, that was nice.
Yeah, even Metro had a problem.
The background, I'm using this as an example of how everything
time.
I did has been scrubbed.
Okay.
Almost all of them. That's why I'm focusing on this, because some of them you look at me like I've said things I can't prove except that I have the internal documents.
Right.
Right, so quickly I'll say, Mr. Rosoff, I finally got a chance to talk to Sister Joe Ellen. We do have a record of the Judith Ann very heavy
Randy, thank you
to
so
St.
much.
Francis. All right, all the other information in the letters inaccurate.
Israel.
Sister Mary Veronica is not taught here. I'm getting it straight to the letter from her.
Right.
Yeah.
Weird to see all
We
these
did
little
not have
things that
sisters
you
who
do
were
every
doctors in
day.
research technology. She saw the
Think
letters
about
in the abstract.
hard to do now, like blowing a
Okay.
balloon.
Right. And
It's a stupid thing like
we did not do cancer research.
Take it for granted.
All right, Sister Ellen
This
did
shit
not
happens.
do
You can't even
dissertation
blow
on history of the school, however, knows nothing of the situation to mentions his wife. So I'm using this as an example of what they've done all along. They wanted to get rid of me, and then they say she's not in the record.
Okay.
All right, so that's the easiest
No,
way to
Joe won't be
show
there
you.
today. Joe is in Las Vegas.
All right, now, all right, so we got all this special trees.
He went to Las
I
Vegas.
went to a lot of
Hopefully he went to go
I
enjoy himself,
memorized the
but I don't think he
1644 limits, but still hadn't gotten out to the public yet. We still had some more tweaking to do, but it was the best
Maybe
program
also,
in the world.
it's cool because he'll be the only
Brain
one there.
cancer cells faster than anything.
Okay.
And so I so this they brought me to the room. So I got, no, wait a minute. And here I'm running around with strippers.
Right.
And they can't send some ugly, dirty old man or doc, to intercept me. They're out of town. I came 2 weeks early. I was free.
That's the thing. If you notice also, I want you to notice something about the
These
American
people
flag.
have trained me.
You're starting to see them, but you notice
Like,
every
I have
single
a
one of them is thrown upside down.
Florida, where
As a
I also
country in
invented a
distress.
new way to detect cancer in the
Right?
bloodstream.
Not one of them because they love it. They're not flying Mexico.
So
Mexico
I
is
was
surely
doing
a country in
that was turned out
distress.
that detection
Ran by
of
cartels
live cancer in the
and a fake
bloodstream.
leader.
They needed me later when they were trying to kill.
They're oppressed all day long by those
They
same
were trying
dirty
to kill
folks.
so-called
Again,
volunteers.
the president of Mexico was so worried about these protests here, but isn't
I
worried
had to
about
do a documentary
making it a better country so those folks won't die more and have to work, starve, and literally slave away for a slave wage every single day in that country.
Their
You
heads
notice
stick out
that?
of the box.
Yeah. Well, he's
Most people are making more money because she's now the president. She's busy worrying about this shit instead of worrying about her own country. And so those people don't have to work for $10 a day working really
Dr.
hard.
Silva is not in that picture, but Dr.
Because if that happened, guess what? A lot of them wouldn't even come here. They like to stay in their own country, but there's no opportunity to work.
And
None.
we became close
They
friends.
ain't doing that.
The reason I want to say
Yeah, she is, Cali girl, but that has really nothing to do with it. That's irregardless. The fact is she's just another person that props up
I was a
bullshit
It's crazy that they do
while
that.
not helping her own
That's
country.
something else.
She could be concentrating on helping the citizens of her own
killed
country.
about 150,000.
There's a reason why they leave. It's not because it's so awesome.
Could you imagine if aliens did that to us?
Okay? They need to eat. They need to work. They come here because this is a place where you can get hired, even as an immigrant, as you see, all the rage. Right?
All right, this is a letter. You can just look
Yeah,
at
she
it.
is.
This confirms that I was. I told her before this is my schoolmate Jones at
Again,
the University of Florida.
But let's put her to us aside for a moment. Let's look at the last 5 to run Mexico. Have they been anything? Have they done anything different? They were men. They weren't Jewish. Same result. Same puppet. Just a different face. That's it. It's just a different puppet. The same face.
Skip 2 years. Just the last 2 years in medical.
So again, cries to the cows come home. Everything I just said right there is real.
Of course,
The reason why they come here, and it's not to leave their family, because money is better. Opportunity is better. Got a 311 man on the train platform.
How did you meet Mary Sherman?
Urban chaos.
Actually, I tried to meet her at David Farragut's. I actually,
How did you know about her? Did you know about her previously?
actually, she's famous.
Oh, really?
Fauci or something today.
No way.
No,
Famous in a negative way like he
no,
was?
positive.
Okay.
I mean, everybody thought the world of her, but she knew Sarah Stewart. She knew
That's it.
these other, she was an expert on it.
Yeah, again, they want to lump you together. That's what this world
She
is
was
about.
an
They want to
surgeon.
make you
working
into
with
a
polio
Nazi
patients'
or
kids.
make you into Hitler or whatever buzzword they have for it because they can't face the
When
truth.
Oxford
What
lost
I
his
just said
grandson,
right there is the God's honest
and
truth.
they decided to work together to try and conquer this
I've heard the story so many goddamn times.
contamination.
Right.
You know, my ears are ready to
So
fall
what
off.
happened when he lost his grandson? From
Yeah,
what
that's
I
what I'm trying to
understand,
tell
correct me if I'm wrong,
Mexico
but
has
the
been pumped for decades.
polio vaccine
Because
was
it doesn't matter their president. Their president is just a
Well,
puppet.
this is Cutter.
Cartels run that joint. And until everything changes,
And don't believe it
people will
that
never
every
have a
time
better
that
life.
they talk
That's
about
why they
that
come here and go other places.
they just said this
Simple.
poliovirus is incapacitated.
Oh, he's on right now,
Still
Alexis?
there.
Thank you for letting me know.
So
We'll check
you
Kumar
notice
out.
that they immune
Kumar's
response.
live in Denver.
But don't believe the fact that they always kill all of it, or they get negative, so it's not going to give polio. It happens all the time, every once in a while.
You
So
can't
you're
handle
gonna
the
polio,
truth.
if
That's
you
it.
keep giving you polio shots, the polio will come back, because you're going to find, they just, listen,
Sure, that's
99.99%
what it is.
of
That's
the
why they
time,
do it. They put him
what
on
they give you,
the defense. He has to defend himself.
this one didn't
He
get
can't just
inactivated.
go
Let me
on
explain
offense
about,
and do
for
what he needs to
example,
do. He's got to defend himself first
virus.
before he
This
can
has
go to the
nothing to do
offense.
with,
And I want to tell you, you notice the optic was so bad they handed out American flags and they stopped burning shit. They stopped breaking shit the last 48 hours because they saw, wait a minute, it's making us look really bad. So we got to make ourselves look better. You're still the same shit wrapped in that box.
I mean, I'm talking about the nucleus. They're on the outside and can't affect your DNA.
Don't trip.
But viruses
We understand. We get you. We see you. Lord, thank you so much, Lord. All the folks that are anti-American, you didn't just change because they go to school overnight. You're still out here.
They're used to buying
You
viruses.
want our
Oh,
money,
you
but
put
you
them
hate
out, put them in formaldehyde, you know, because you're making material to make the injection shots. Yeah. Just go ahead and put them in formaldehyde for 7 days. They're dead.
Well, isn't the race in Mexico City or Jameson or
The
something?
virus. It takes
They
30
do that,
days.
so I mean, it makes sense.
So the polio
What's
virus
crazy
died
is
with
how all the drivers get there. They have to go in a large caravan all together because they don't get jacked by cartel. They don't have their car carrier jacked with the car NASCARs.
Right.
The lucky kidneys, it's just stupid. beginning because
Oh,
kidneys are going to, the lucky kidneys
That's the
carry
first
some
dehydration case.
number 40. They have 39 other viruses. Yeah,
Was Ford the last one or the more than Ford?
they're more. But this is the one that stood out. It was absolutely.
Yeah, but so when they made
Jacob, slide down to
the
the venue.
second
God,
version
everybody
of
slides.
polio
That's
vaccine,
why
I
we
forget
get
the name of
home.
the company that did the second rollout of them that seemed to be more safe, that seemed to be working. They didn't kill the viruses, they just weakened them somehow.
Well, that's the problem.
Yeah, people don't like, they like to look at whatever they like to look at. They don't want the absolute
Sure,
memory.
they work better though if they're weaker instead of dead.
That's why
Well,
the
the
people struggle.
idea, if it's dead, maybe the body's immune
Because
system's
nobody
not
is
going to
for them.
respond to
Save
it.
it. Save it.
Not the
Just
government,
saying, yeah.
not the cartels,
And
nobody. They're oppressed
all
by
of
their own
these have
people.
their faults and
Constantly.
flaws. They
That's real.
simply, we have got to get a different mindset.
That is fucking real.
We
Then you have
get away from
American
thinking we can
companies
solve
over there
everything through the
creating
system
slave labor
with
jobs
each
for them.
It's dangerous. We're going
The
too
cycle
far.
continues.
I have a lot of people that agree with me that we need to rethink.
Sure, they get
medicine.
kickbacks from these big companies that move
Yeah,
in,
you get taught that
use them
everything
as slave
can be
labor.
solved with the shot.
And not to say it only
Not
happens in
necessarily.
Mexico.
I think
It happens in
shots
China
are
every day.
so
I'm talking about big pharma.
big pharma, right? So essentially, the idea is that we introduce a little bit of a virus or some
I
sort
didn't
of a
see Biden
disease
support anybody.
to
I
your
don't know.
immune system that
I
is
saw
not
Obama.
powerful, but it builds up the antibodies.
And that's
So
funny.
your body
If you
can
go
learn
back
how to
just
fight
five,
this thing.
Hillary too
not
was
even
really
five,
good.
I'd say a little more, probably about 7, 8 years ago,
It's
and
a
watch
little
all
bit
the
worse
Obama,
than that.
right before he was
There
getting
is
elected
excellent.
too. Also, some of that
Right,
video.
it works to some extent.
It's an
You see
ancient
his
theory. It goes
stance on
back to
illegal
Marcus
immigration,
Aurelius.
how
Well,
tough
I would say
he was
that
talking
it's
about
obsolete as
being
far as
upon
to us
immigration,
it's like, you know, we
yet
don't
he
have
never
Bill
played it.
Luther up there in the
and they all
yeah,
voted.
Black Matter and so on. So we need to upgrade our thinking on this.
That's the best part.
What we have is the presence of a virus. You say it's polio, okay? But the
The only
body.
thing Biden supported was his brain. He supported his brain a long time ago.
And that goes in your system. Get an immune
Many
response
years.
to
He's been
deal with
50
it.
years in the game and got
So the
nothing
idea
done.
of shots is that you're going to
Got
put
nothing
this stuff
done.
in the body and it's going to have an immune
Besides being the
response.
worst president ever.
And that this stuff is not dangerous.
Besides that, I don't know what else he's got.
Right.
That's not always the case.
Not always the case.
That's right. And the problem is,
Human beings make mistakes.
and not only that, but mutations occur.
And I
And
have
in this
victory out
particular
of March.
world, that's exactly what they do forever.
Be peaceful, man. Making us look bad after we already look bad.
Well, here's the thing. So you've got percentage of immune
They
response.
stole one of the crests off the wall.
They put something else on top of it to top it off to make it
Those goddamn
immune
veterans,
response.
right?
And say it's for the whole thing, but it's not. It's not for just the virus. They add the stuff on top, and that's artificially making a response that has nothing to do with the original response.
Right.
That's why you have to get boosters.
Right.
And then you can sell boosters forever.
How would you approach it differently?
Well, I was very much pro all of these shots and everything, okay? Until I realized that we have never cured cancer.
I'm not ignoring you.
Then I realized that we're making a lot of money in these shots. Sure. And a lot of money in what they call the cancer treatment industry and cancer treatment
Basically,
pellets.
mom come up.
Those big pellets being built with all their industry associated with treatment. Where is all
When's the action
all
gonna
the
start?
places
Oh, I
being
feel
built
like,
to
you know, they're just
There's
pretty
no
much getting
incentive
warmed up.
whatsoever to cure.
They've probably been out here
They
since
can
11-ish.
cure
You
cancer.
know,
I know how to
anybody
cure
know?
cancer.
They've been out here since 8.
Not to your
Woke
fault.
up late.
See,
They probably gathered between 10 or 11.
bacteriophages needs to eat you.
Oh,
And all it takes is one
So you got
agitator.
a virus that
The group
eats
gets big enough,
bacteria,
then
but
you get the
also
agitators,
these viruses
then come the
are not,
looters.
they actually can eat viruses.
these bacteria can eat
No,
viruses.
no. Viruses, bacteriophage is a virus that eats bacteria.
On a virus that eats
You're
bacteria.
out there.
But yes, they use it in all the sewer systems. Think of all the diseases that go into our filthy sewage and everything.
Look on the Wikipedia, Steve.
Wikipedia.
All right, let's get into
What do we go? Spookopedia? What's the other one called? What's the one Ian Carroll's on us about?
Figueroa, York now. On Figueroa, of
Come
course,
on, man.
it's
It's
got it
like
now with Highland
Wikipedia
Park.
or
There's a whole nother one.
Wikipedia for
Just say we just put on bacteriophages and just go to
Alright, let's get
images because then you can see
Without any further ado, it's time for
as the phage is a virus that infects a virus that infects and replicates with bacteria and archaea. The term is derived from the ancient Greek word to devour, phage.
Okay. It's a very simple. The reason that they don't use it is too easy to
Standing in
confuse
82-degree weather and marching
So
around,
bacteriophages are composed of
in an hour.
proteins that
Especially
encapsulate
if you haven't had
DNA
enough
or
food,
RNA
not
genome,
enough water.
and they have structures that are
Plus, they're
either
constantly
simple or
yelling, and
elaborate.
screaming, and chanting.
Anyway,
Mouth
you
so
can
dry,
engineer them
not
very easily,
hydrated.
too easily, so they can't have it because you can easily engineer them 10 different ways to cure cancer.
Really?
Now, what's wonderful about bacteriophages is once they eat it all up, they eat up all the cancer cells, leave bag of pus behind, so to speak. If it's a tumor, all right, well, aspirate that out with a needle, big deal. They go to sleep. They don't wake up until they brush against a cancer again.
They hibernate in your body.
That's right.
Have you ever tried this?
Well, we were doing that in 1961 in Roswell Park. We were working with bacteriophages.
Really?
Yes.
So how specifically? So you injected this into mice or something? Or monkeys?
Lice, monkeys, we use marmosets actually. That's in between.
Okay.
Yeah, marmosets are easy and fast to keep.
And so you gave these marmosets.
They had cancer.
They had cancer, or you gave it to them when they already had it, one way or the other.
Gave them cancer.
And then you gave them this stuff, this bacteriophage.
Well, this is special. It only took a few months to create it. So
And
you
then-
can't patent this stuff because it's so easy to make.
And what happened after you gave them bacteriophage?
Well, they survived. They went along, and then the marmosets have a short life, but if the cancer started up again, the bacteria will and we can't get the transit.
All I say is just don't spam it.
Yeah, we have one company that you know what they did? They've trained bacteriophages to go to cancer cells. Guess what? Piggyback in, inject in chemo. That they can go
I'm
in,
trying to read other
and, which is deadly, poisonous.
Yeah.
So here they trained this bacteriophage to actually go to the cells, but not to kill the cells.
I think all these people should not use ice in their drinks either, just to show solidarity with everybody. You should not be using
You see
ice.
how simple they
I
are.
don't want you to have any
There are
cold
three
drinks.
major, the first things that we created artificially was it?
Love how you spell kids,
The
Squidward.
bacteriophage.
Squidward.
And the whole virus. Now, ask yourself, why would they create these artificially, these three, these
Here with my room.
You see what I'm saying?
What about four cancers? What can you find about that? Cancer together. Okay, let's keep going. Let's keep through that. Hopefully we'll
All
find
right,
it.
so anyway, there's an awful lot of that. Now,
Okay.
Lee Oswald is a sign. Gosh, we've got so much to talk about.
Let's do it.
Great. So they sent him, he's cute.
I spit out the drink.
Thought I was in love with the guy. Okay, and
Figure
this
out
guy,
that you're a bitch trying to get
let me check. We're going to have to really move into
It's always
different
cold over
areas.
there. That light.
Let me see if I can find one.
Bro, look at that one right there. Big old pumpkin fucking Trump.
So we have right here, look right here, it says bacteriophages have been studied for their ability to deliver therapeutic agents directly to tumors, making them promising tools for
Oh,
cancer
Trump's body double.
You can now they can get him there.
Oh, I know you're hot,
They're
that
talk
big
about
old
that. Why
inflatable
don't you let them attack the cancer?
82 degrees. Everybody else is fucking
And here they can train to go there.
ran a little bit of sweat.
Because El Chico
Guarantee you, you're fucking sweaty in that bitch right now.
Just
Shout out to Smoking Can. Let's get it. Let's go. Chocolate down the line. Jacob's live.
if you cure cancer, all those prices are going to go down. If you cure
And Ruger, of
cancer,
course. And forget about
I want to know why
Top
my voice is
Ruger.
being silenced. Millions of dollars are wasted.
Nancy, thank you so much. Washington, D.C. is small. People are celebrating Army and its history. What a total Washington is. A lot of people never protest like this.
I do.
Yeah, Nancy, thank you. Again, like I said, a lot of it is just hype. It's just a lot of hype. You just gotta let it happen.
the most recent set of my
Yeah, we were
photos
watching
last
East
week.
Coast earlier. It's just the speed was a little rough.
Can't use
It's
it.
in a bad area. You know?
People say how evil you are because you were married. You're married.
We'll definitely go back to
Sir Henry Fairfield.
hopefully he doesn't get in trouble today. Got
Yeah,
arrested for 2 days.
I was married
Almost
one day.
arrested yesterday.
My husband abandoned me. He said, I'm not going to tell you where I'm going. You would have married me if I told you I'm going to be on this Sunday. He said, bye-bye, I'm not going to tell you where I am. He took off.
Wow.
But that night, where I
Come on,
lived was
Donald,
raided by
married.
the
Donald's
police.
already married.
By the way, he'd gone to the house where the raid occurred and read
He's
three
concerned,
searches, elders,
Harold.
and we have witnesses. And told them what happened.
You have,
and
like,
why
sister
they were
wives.
It turned out Lee Oswald had put me in a house to fill your coop. Now, he'd been
Flag doctor, I
for
appreciate
10
it. Different
years.
flags,
He
different
thought it was a
ideas,
nice sporty
different
house,
people.
but
No,
it had changed.
yeah,
Okay?
yeah.
And actually, went to
The only thing you did is
fancy place.
diversity is their strength.
We don't have time for everything, but it's very fancy. It's in my book.
Okay, we're jumping ahead to the affair.
Wait, all right, Mike, yes, but I'm going to show you something.
Okay.
I want you to read this postcard. Robert Baker, my husband.
For
This-
dead.
All right, now,
Oh,
I've
the
been
crowd will
very
get
nice to
arrested.
him now.
Trust me,
Notice
there's way
this.
too many people for
It
there not
says
to be.
it is
People get
from New
arrested.
Orleans. Please turn the picture
Still
over
early
so
on.
the other side.
It's going to be a long day. This is a marathon.
Greetings from New
We
Orleans.
gotta
Right,
gotta
okay, now
walk.
where am I living?
We're not sprinting here.
I'm living in New
Jogging.
Orleans.
Right.
He's dropping me a
Hey,
postcard. This is
so much
coming from
good.
New Orleans. He doesn't have time to visit me. It's my new husband.
I'm in Blue Ridge right now.
Yeah.
Hi there. Just stopped in New Orleans and thought I'd drop a line.
This is my new husband.
Boy, is the weathering
Mario and
miserable
Kim
here.
Gutierrez, thank you
I'll
so
be
much. I
back
appreciate you for the
in a
really,
couple
really
of
nice
days. Eat enough, take care of yourself, because I'm loving you.
You and your wife understand what I'm
Bob
saying and
Baker.
doing here. You know, I get a lot of blanket statements about how passionate I may be about certain aspects of what's going on, right?
Wow.
But I think you understand, you and your wife, and a lot of others do here.
I get
That's why I
ready.
had to prove
I
that
have
point to
nobody
the man
to help me.
earlier, saying that what I was saying.
What is his career?
Well, he's
Here we are. Still, almost an hour later, he still has never sent you a clip. He's saying what he said I said.
His IQ was so high it was classified.
100 years.
Yes, that's how Border Patrol,
Anyway, he ended up being one of the
or
top
Department of
scientists.
Homeland Security,
At
DHS,
that time, he was still getting all his credentials.
orbiting downtown LA. Oh, we got the bubbles. Bubbles made a appearance. Damn it!
Well, I was 19.
You were still 19 when you met in New Orleans.
But
You
no,
ought
it
to be
didn't
the
mean
high
it didn't mean New Orleans. It
Damn
was
it,
University of Florida. She was, I've taken high math classes and all this.
Anonymous, thank you so much for the no-no.
And one of the classes that summer. And I had 3 boyfriends. I was very athletic as well. And very forward.
It is one of the major topics. I wanted to secure
And
borders.
all that. And later he would tell one of my sons, I married her for
Tubbs,
her
thank you
legs.
so much, Tubbs. Is that MK Ultra?
So anyway,
What's MK Ultra? I don't know what that is.
yeah, there's
I think I've heard the name
Yeah.
before. I don't know what it is.
It's amazing.
Let's keep the podcast
Yeah,
up.
let's
MLK,
We don't want to make
MLK
the
is my
podcast
only
X-rated.
name.
I'm just trying to
It's
say
like
that before you go on later. I was a good girl.
Yeah.
Remember what the king said, the great doctor King said, it's about the content of your character, not the color of your skin. So your content of your character is going to be shown today.
Engineering,
Burning
science,
shit, breaking shit, vandalizing shit, and throwing rocks, trying to kill officers with rocks and everything else.
But I didn't.
Content of your character.
Yeah, so I had all these boyfriends. I didn't want to bring my reputation. I told each of those boys,
So you want to honor him?
trouble, please.
Maybe you honor him like that.
Yeah, look at these other, please protect me from these other guys.
And that's why I'm not going to shoot everybody's like, yeah, he's on early.
So,
Aliens here to the night guy.
I earned it. But he was different. He ended up seducing me because he could be in chess.
Right,
He could be with chess.
I don't know anything other than it's a black
They
box
told you
helicopter.
he was a high-level scientist with a freaking 200
I think
IQ
it's
with
either
the
the
CIA.
Department of Homeland
Well,
Security or
I'll
the
put this
Border
way, just like
Border
me, he was
Patrol
being
have those
very,
very
we didn't. Now, all they were interested in was for mathematics. You know, he would end up.
And again, they're going to be doing Overwatch, just like the snipers.
forever.
Okay, there's snipers in this building on the very top right. Okay, over there on the very top right, you can see 3 of them. They're
I
up
told you
there
all the stuff he
on
did.
the
He still
second to the roof, like right below the roof.
He took off, and it's
We're watching this whole problem from top, and I guarantee you that helicopter's doing the same thing.
so
It's
he
straight
had
recon.
I had nobody.
It's not
I
going to
just
come out and drop bombs or shoot
at me
anything.
at the post office when I
Just
was looking for
reconnaissance.
letters from him. He's supposed to
And
write
I
every day.
guarantee you, they're getting such great shots.
Like Lee said, love and
You gotta see the stuff that Tom has. He gets
The
it.
moment
That
first,
shit'll see.
uh,
Fine.
You
don't think the government has fucking better stuff? I assure you, they're only 800 feet up. They're gonna see you set that fire or whatever. They're taking video of it. They've already caught a few
because his
people.
wife usually stuff.
There's so much video. There's so many people on TikTok, YouTube, all the streamers, putting this stuff up. Some of them light a fire with their mask on. They'll go over in that same setup and they see the same SWAT shirt, the same head wrap. He'll take the head wrap off and get a sip of water. And somebody has a picture of him there, so now we have 2 pictures of him.
Monitors there because Carlos
Facial recognition is a real thing, ladies and gentlemen. It's a breakdown.
And yet
They're
this
gonna
was like
recognize you.
24 hours.
Go
We
catch
thought,
you.
'cause I was
They
like,
take a
I was
while.
on the road for 2 hours of back.
That's what they're up
crazy.
there doing.
Yeah, what, for $2? He does that. Thought I was a
Well,
crazy.
82 for them here.
All the
Wait,
stairs because I knew.
see, most people are in like shorts. Nobody's in jackets. Anybody wearing a
I
jacket?
knew about me because I was a cancer researcher that was
Short
supposed to
shirts.
with Dr. Mary Sherman. And David Byrne told him to go and meet me. That's all he needed.
Yeah, I'll check on that in a second.
Yes, but I didn't
Let
know
him get
that
in
at the time.
position.
They want to
Happy
stop
birthday,
us
Mike
running around
Hewer.
with these
Oh, boy.
I mean, I got to first all right, so
That's a new one. I haven't seen that
I'm
side
angry
yet.
because there's no letter. Because the man said he's going to write me every day. And he's going to tell me he's going to come marry me. I don't need,
Jail is cold.
Big deal.
Look at these
They
legs.
never
You
turn
need
the
this
AC
nerve?
off and they never turn the lights off.
Okay, sort of like that. Yeah, I got I got all crazy. Yeah. And so I sure did want that kind of excuse me. Pepsi.
This is how democracy died.
Okay,
In jail with no trial.
and I turn around this looking guy.
Like I said, I love it that these were all the same people. When Trump was in trouble, right? When they were going after Trump, nobody's above the law. Nobody. Nobody's above the law. But apparently there's a whole lot of immigrants, illegal immigrants, that are above the law. Apparently. So let's see how that works. It was the same thing, guys. My body, my choice. When it came to abortion rights, oh, it was my body, my choice. You better not tell me what to do with my body. But when it came to the shamdemic and the fake vaccines, it wasn't your choice. It was either take it or get ostracized. Funny how that works. I watch it all. I may not remember it all. I don't forget a whole lot. I remember all that shit. Yes, I'm gonna keep calling you out on your hypocrisy. You're fucking hypocrites. That's why I will never give in to your cause.
Mechanically accurate.
Yeah, in other words, you know how to please, but it doesn't mean love. There's a difference.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they should have a COVID like vax bus over there. Melania, we hate him too.
Actually, he left it.
Come on, back
Be a grown up. It's not a way.
Here's that
You.
thing too. Melania, we hated him too. God dang it, and now the fucking flag's in the way. Stay on the bump on Vice.
So that's where
Otis has the mug shot. My immigrant parents
So
don't.
they're going to get married. We did. He said, we got to hurry. People thought he loved me. Actually did. Never said it.
They just have big cocks. If they're immigrants, then they're criminals in this
We
country.
go more
Their cock will have that enough shot.
He did that in a hurry because he's got to get a reporter vote.
You won't be able to fly your side.
Research for the school. Okay. So he's gone. And here comes the police raid. I'm thrown out in the middle of the street.
Jill hates Biden too.
All right. Only never I heard was this phone number from Cuba. And I was
Yeah.
going back to the post office.
Melania, we hate him too. Hashtag Trump.
Well, we finally figured out 2 years to realize.
I love reading the signs they do. A lot of times the shit's misspelled. That's the best part.
I have this newspaper with a code
Not that I'm the spelling Nazi, but I'm the dog you out when you can't spell a 4-letter word right. You're in your 20s or more.
I'm doing stuff
I'm a
with
dog you out.
Catholic widows. And I brought the newspaper because it's got code on it.
I'm no scholar, but I assure you this. Whatever sign, I'm going to double check, spell check. I don't go out looking like an idiot.
He knows Russian.
Be sure you are.
I'll say something. I'll say, what did you say?
I will do
So
that.
I'm going to do that.
Okay? This isn't a God's moment.
Picks it up and hands it to me. I go, they say, answer me in Russian.
Speaking of connecting dots, are you ready? Shot 4?
Is this 63?
April 26, 1963. That's when I met her.
Why wrote it?
God.
She's
Just
right
got
in
from
the
Moscow, right?
He's only been back less than a year. But wait a minute, I knew these spies. I told you.
And you know what else I need to get? From Coming to America. They're at the barber shop. He's talking about when he met Martin Luther King. He's like, oh man, you ain't never met Martin Luther King.
Then I knew all
I
this
need
stuff.
that. So that way when I have an MLK sign come up, I can have another MLK drop beside this one.
I know how to do things in the ego crazy. We also had a street the CIA. There's 5 people who like me. I mean, they were.
Dad's locked up.
And I didn't know it.
Dad went into the hot zone, got locked up.
You met him.
Too
He
much
thought I was
internet.
CIA just like him. He had only given me information. He ever sent me to make sure I got to meet David Ferry because Mary Sherman would be there and we were supposed to.
I don't know,
So
maybe
what was
the
it like
government
when you guys
scrambling.
first met, bumped into each other as he dropped his newspaper? You guys talking Russian? What did he ask you? What did he say to you?
Well, it's like this. No,
Doubt it.
I said that to him. He said,
That way it makes it harder for people to get their signal out.
Russian in New
Or when
Orleans.
they do,
He
it
said,
just
"Can you
turns
wait a
all
minute?"
Minecraft.
And he asked for stuff for him. He had to pretend it.
Everybody I see that goes in front of the building, their shit goes all fucked up.
Oswald, that's what he said. So he was in there. And boy, that set off the bell in my head because he was big news in the newspaper. I remember stuff I read. He was big news in the newspapers, way back. And his picture there.
From what again?
Well, he was a so-called defective.
Yeah.
He was front page. Everything had to do with
This was all over the news before.
Oh my gosh, yes. And here he's walking around Fremantle. No way. I knew too much. And so, when I said to him,
Sorry about the clippiness, other guys.
when
Nothing I
he
can
said,
do.
he confirmed that he'd been in the USSR
Par
for
for the
30
course
years
right
and
now.
he'd come back to the life and child.
Hey, though, I don't want all flopping around. I don't know if you guys saw. No joke.
He was shocked. I knew enough to know what kind of man he really was. He wasn't into that. All he knew is I said, hey, I said, he's got to make sure you protect until they get back. That's all I knew. When I say he was a hero, it just, he dropped his guard. He wasn't ready for that. He's so used to,
I guarantee you,
he'd gone through just like
we're just seeing all
his family is not have anything.
they had set that up. I guarantee you there'd be somebody out
But
there
it's not. He's one of ours.
who's smashing.
And to have someone talk to
Somebody be out there getting the rap back
right away.
just because they know
Because he thought I was in as deep as he was.
And you know what's really funny? Andrew Granger, I think it's finally seen the light.
Because of the people.
I think somebody finally sat him down and said, hey, bro,
And by that time,
can't
for 2
breathe.
years, the
You're in
Antichrist
shape.
Patriots.
You have like a 3% body fat. You're standing still.
So,
And you're
by the
sucking
time
and flowing.
David Ferry realized
And it's
that
time
David
to
Ferry
take the
asked
mask
for
off.
somebody
So I
assisted
think
his help.
somebody totally did.
Because it turned out he
Now
had
look
to
at
lots
doesn't wear his mask.
plane flights in Miami trying to get his pilot's license back. Long story.
There is that.
But so
Everybody's
they asked for assistance. And most of
so
them
many
thought they said a
people
female
eat up the internet.
because he was homosexual. They thought they didn't want anybody
They're
to excuse.
all that service is going to the same thing at the same tower.
We're supposed to be there. Michael Coach
Yeah, man.
Okay, very difficult name. Anyway, he said that did the promise program. He was very young like myself. In fact, he was like 50.
Nothing we can do like
Okay,
this.
and so they respected someone young, and they thought, well, they sent a girl because they don't want to have a guy because Ferry is been accused of seducing young kids. They were teenagers,
Young boys.
so they thought they said instead. That was not true. It is like this. They have a statement.
Okay.
But I'm here to stay with John Bannister for our political stuff, so he didn't get there in time. So then I was